All right, so good evening, everyone. Welcome back. I am still the Calm Scribe, and this is In Conversation with Joe Kamba, a.k.a. Tuque Daddy. Joe is a father of three young boys, a social media influencer, and a business owner. He's also a life enthusiast and passionate of sports and personal development. And from what I can see from looking at his content all around, a great guy, very positive, very supportive, and always
Appreciate
looking to
that.
help build up other people around him. How are you tonight, Joe?
Appreciate
Thanks for
that.
coming through.
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me. How are you?
I am fantastic. I gotta say, I'm excited to have you on stream. Your media, it's you. I have to say, you're the first person that I have ever like cold called out of the blue to be
Oh
like, I
yeah.
have to have you come on for an interview.
I really appreciate that, man. I really appreciate that. Like I said to me, I always tell people it's always odd. Like it's I'm just a regular dude, so it's always, I always feel appreciated. And when people, think it's a big deal to come to me, is to me, I'm just a regular dude. So it's kind of feel tickled pink a little bit, you know what I mean?
Well, you're filling a void that's there that really is there, and that's something that really stood out to me. And I mean, you can ask my wife how often I complain about the fact that there's just when it comes to parenting, there's a lot of stuff that's like fathers are just kind of left off to the side with. They're
Yeah.
not taken into account in a lot of stuff. I find, my baby is 9 months old, and I think maybe in three doctor visits have I had the doctor actually look, because we go husband and wife together. Have I had the
Yeah.
doctor look at me and say, "Dad, how are you doing?"
Yeah, that's
Right?
it's odd. Yeah, that's actually interesting. You say that. I never thought about that. You know what I mean? It's but I never I don't remember. I why would they?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know. It's you're right. It's first of all, I didn't know I was feeling a void. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Um I just thought I would share things that I knew, which is usually what I do, or either that has worked for me or that I really didn't know I was feeling a void. That's why I was kind of surprised when those videos took off. Like I literally just started posting about fatherhood. Because I typically post about personal development, funny stuff, relatable stuff. But as you're aware, I recently got we recently had our third boy. He's just turning 6 weeks, I think tomorrow or something, or on Monday. Um, so it was so interesting because that first video, so my mom, both my parents are pediatricians, right? So I grew up in a house where we looked at people almost from a different like view than regular people because we had two parents who were doctors consistently observing, making, you know, comments about, okay, this is why this is happening, right? So early on, we had, my siblings and I think we had this eye for developing human beings. You know what I mean? Um, And so yeah, it just kind of came naturally to me. And then my third was born, and I had all these tools that I didn't really know other people didn't have, to be honest. I had no idea. To me, like I said, growing up in this type of household, it's normal.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm certain things I'm talking about, even my wife, she's like, where you get that from? I'm like, I don't really know. But it's like I grew up with two pediatricians. Like, you know what I mean? That's how they observe us. And my mom is also a child psychiatrist, like child psychology specialist. On top of that, so it's like you're talking to these people all the time. They're kind of observing you as their child, but also as a patient, you know, at
Yeah.
all time. So you kind of develop those same habits, right? Um, I didn't know I was feeling a void. Like I said, I thought I would post what I knew about fatherhood, just like what I knew about personal development and just like what I knew about relationship. And when I saw it, blowing up, and I realized, man, like we really need this. You know what I mean? Like, like
Yeah. Well, that's it,
you
because
know?
there's so much information that's out there. Like that's one of the things that. So I'm kind of similar to you. I grew up with my mom's a psychologist. My dad is was the general manager of the paramedic service. So I
Hmm.
had a paramedic and a psychologist coming
Yeah,
up through stuff. So yeah, you get a different perspective on things. And
absolutely.
but like the books that are out there, and especially I'm a writer, so
Yeah,
I'm very sensitive when it comes to books. And there's
yeah,
stuff that gets my wife's bringing home these books on what to feed, like baby led weaning and what to feed your kids and how to do all this stuff. But you
yeah,
can publish a book with have no doctorate, no information, no
yeah,
background, just be like, I've
yeah,
raised one kid, this is what happened, and this is what I did. And
yeah,
it can be so overwhelming and so confusing, all the
yeah,
information that's out there. So to have someone that's actually got some kind of a background and experience with three kids
yeah.
is a big thing for that.
And I think, it's not just only that. I think because I'm very purposeful in when when I post content. So like when I shot that first video, and come back because I lost track of what I was saying earlier, but that first video that blew up, my mom was there. She just came back from vacation. And I think we can hear her in the video actually talking to my sister. And everybody's getting ready, and I think my wife is trying to put our middle child to sleep for nap time. Youngest start tripping, and I'm like, I know what to do. Like I'm not stressed, right? And I tell my mom, yo, like what if like I actually, shot a video of me calming the baby down right now? And I was like, whatever, just keep on. Like this is literally what happened. It was not thought through. It's not like I sat down thinking I'm gonna fill a void and become. It wasn't. It was spontaneous. Like my, it's just everyday life. And for whatever reason, I'm a content creator. So at that time, I was like, I might be some good content. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so I shot it, and my son was very cooperative. I will admit, he was very cooperative in that video, and like, allowed me to show the things that I knew about calming a baby down, right? And then I woke up and it's like 100,000 views, and then 200,000 views, and then 300,000 views, and then people like more, and then seeing women talking about, we don't see dads doing that. Like this is a void you're feeling. Like thank you for doing that. This comment that literally like meant the world to me. The person said like there's this gentleness about you that reminds you about of my dad. And I was
Oh
like,
wow.
damn. So I'm like, I'm really actually making an impact out there, not only for dads, but like for moms and kids too, right? Like it, the reason I'm the dad that I am today is because my parents were so busy as parents. You
Yeah.
can't imagine, right? So I always told myself, no matter how busy I am, my kids getting my time. They're getting my attention. They're getting my care. And the big thing to me is I want to show people it's possible to be all of that. It's possible to be a great dad. It's possible to be a great husband. It's possible to be a great businessman. It's possible to be a great guy and be all of that. It's hard as hell though.
Yeah. Well, that's those are all the things I try to do as well. Because I'm a dad, I'm a writer, I'm a businessman, I'm a partner,
Yeah,
and that's the thing. The big thing that I think that stuck out to me from your videos too is the fact that you're not coming at stuff with an attitude. You're not coming at stuff with just silly dances and just trying to get famous and stuff like that on TikTok. You actually have like even your
yeah,
non-parenting videos. Your content is
yeah.
solid. And how's your hand, by the way?
Hey, listen, I picked up boxing, right? Because so a little bit of background. I'm an ex basketball player, 6'6". I played basketball my entire life, so I have this constant amount of energy in me that I don't really know what to do with, right? So I don't really like going to the gym.
Mm.
I like working out. I don't like going to the gym. I don't really like leaving my house. I like staying with my family.
I feel you on
you
that.
know,
100%.
so,
Yeah.
so I like the convenience of staying at my house. And I was getting bored working out, lifting weights. I think it's boring. But there's something about boxing that gets you going, you know, that gets you thinking, that gets you focused. And when you lose that focus, you will hurt yourself.
Hmm.
And that's something I learned very quickly hitting that goddamn bag. It's, I mean, and and weirdly, it takes your mind away from other things, from being a dad, from being a husband, from those responsibilities. So my hand's good. I'm put some ice on it and stuff like that. I haven't hit the bag in a couple of days, but it's, that's another part of being a dad. You can't be a dad if you're not doing well. You can't be a good dad if you're not doing well. You have to allow yourself to go to the gym. You have to allow yourself to do the things that allow you to be who you are on a regular basis, right?
Yeah.
Um, and that's why it's important to me. Is I want to see I want my sons to see me as well as a healthy dude. And because it's odd, I see my dad to this day as a superhero. I'm taller than my dad, bigger than my dad, but to this day, my dad is Superman, and I assumed it's going to be the same thing for my kids, right? So
Yeah.
it's only right, in my opinion, that I try to, make sure that they understand that being Superman, you don't just wake up. You got to work for it, right? So I try to expose them to what I'm doing every day when I'm working, when I'm shooting content. They're usually around, my family around when I'm working out. They're usually around. I'm on the phone talking to clients. They're usually around. Um, they don't really understand, but they see that, you know, the other day it's funny, my son said to my wife, "Hey, mom, dad is really strong." And she's like, "Why?" He's like, "You see how he hits the bag? I don't hit the bag that hard. I tell you that much. I'm not that strong." But it's the the perception,
Yeah.
the perception that your kid has. And now I see him. At first he's hitting the bag like a madman. I got him a little bag too. He's hitting the bag like a madman. But then he sees that I'm not just hitting the bag. I'm being, meticulous about my movement, about how I'm moving, about the head movement, about the footwork. I'm not just going and but he sees me sweating, but he sees that there's some meticulousness, there's some focus in there, there's some discipline that comes into it. And to me, that's important that my son see that, um, because I'm gonna be gone one day, right? And to me, that's my focus. One day I'm gonna be gone. They're gonna be by themselves, and I want them to have all the tools possible to, if I'm gone tomorrow, they don't cry about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They don't cry
No.
about it because dad is gone. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Is they going to cry because dad is gone, but then they got their own, right? And I think my dad did that. So I think my parents did that. That's partially why I am the way I am today, right? Is I seen my dad work. I seen my dad get up 4 o'clock. I seen my mom get up 4 o'clock, be on call 2, 3 days in a row, 4 kids. You know what I mean? My parents, I got 3 siblings, so you can't imagine. You got parents who are quite busy as well. So you know what it is.
Yeah.
Um, so I think it's important, try to we talk a lot about, I'm gonna give my kids everything I didn't have. I think it's important that, I give my kids what I had, and I had parents. I had 2 parents that were there. Um,
See, I like that, and that's the thing that's important because that's one of the things that drew me to you as well. Is like just in long story, very brief. 9 years ago, 8 or 9 years ago, I was cycling. I was hit by a car, left me with permanent brain
oh
damage,
wow.
permanent concussion. So I've got a permanent headache. My spine was damaged in 6 spots.
Oh
Um,
wow.
and I was in rehab for 5 years, recovering from my accident. I suffered chronic pain. I've got all this, like the left side of my body was kind of destroyed in the accident. And when I was told that we basically wouldn't be able to have kids. So my wife and I kind of fought towards it. And uh, after 7 years of trying, we got pregnant.
Yeah.
And now I'm 41 years old. I'm
Yeah.
an old timer.
Yeah.
So I'm first time dad at 41.
Yeah.
And I'm dealing with all these disabilities and stuff like that. So as soon as I found out my wife, because I wasn't able to drive and stuff, so as soon as I found out my wife
Hmm.
was pregnant, same as you, I was like, no, I'm not. That's not the road I'm going to go down. So I redoubled my
Hmm.
efforts on what I was doing.
Yeah.
I started walking without a cane. I still need it for long distances, but I started walking without a cane. I started driving again. I made it so that I could hold my daughter because my left side was difficult to hold anything. So I made it that I was strong enough to be able to hold my daughter, and I'm working every day to be the man that she deserves to have as a
That's
dad.
beautiful, man. That's beautiful, man. It's something about kids. They get you going, bro. But
Yeah,
they drive you crazy. But man, it's a different type of motivation, right? It's what else are you gonna do?
yeah,
You know what I mean? That's the thing. It's what else you gonna do?
yeah.
It's what it's to me it's my question every time. It's and kind of we all have our stories, I believe. Mine is not quite as drastic as yours. Mine is just about mental health mostly. But I find it's when you get kids, you realize I ain't got no freaking choice. It don't matter.
Yeah.
It don't. It don't. And in your case, I think it's beautiful because I think you realize the blessing that it is now after trying for so long.
Oh yeah.
You can't try for so long and then get the blessing you prayed for so long and then just be like, I,
Yeah, that's it.
you know what I mean?
That's exactly it. But that was
You
the
know what
thing
I
that
mean?
that caught me about you, was that the one video that I was saying earlier is that you were talking about being calm, and the
Hmm.
fact that your kids don't know you've had a bad day. They don't know why you're cranky. All they
No.
know is you're not being you to them, or you're not
Yeah.
being nice, or whatever it is to them. And that's something that, when you've got a con- permanent concussion and a constant headache, and you got a baby screaming right beside your ear, it's really easy to get irritated and cranky.
Oh man.
And but she doesn't know that. She doesn't know what
If
I'm
you
going
don't
through.
have all of that, it's easy to get cranky.
It's true.
You know what I mean?
It is.
Like if you just fine, like you ain't got no concussion, you ain't got no permanent headache, it's hard. So I can just imagine what you're going through. And that's what I'm saying. Like to me, I'm just thinking there's things we can't control. There's things we cannot control, but that's not the focus. Like
Yeah.
to me, I was talking to my mom earlier and we're talking about, my brother has a kid and, going through whatever he's going through and, they're tired and stuff like that. And I told my mom, I said, it's funny, everybody who asks me how I'm doing, do I sleep? Am I tired? I'm like, the moment I decided to have a kid, I made a choice to never sleep again.
See, I like that.
That's how I feel
Yeah.
because because it doesn't matter. Like there's days where my middle child right now, I don't even know if he's asleep. And if he's not, wifey's up with him right now because I'm down here and the youngest. And so when I'm done here. If he's not asleep, I'm going up there. And if he doesn't sleep, I'm not sleeping. But then he might fall asleep until tomorrow afternoon. But then I gotta wake up with the two others.
Yeah.
So it's like, what are you gonna do about that? You're gonna complain? You decided to have three children
Yeah.
and you got your blessing. And to me, that's why remaining calm is very important because I want to remind myself that it's a blessing that I'm having in my hands right now. That baby crying is a blessing.
Yeah.
The fact that he's crying is a blessing. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like I remember, I don't know if you know how that birth experience was for you and your wife. That first time,
Hmm.
my first time. So my wife had a C-section.
Yeah.
So first time was a C-section. Second time, it was she had the epidural or whatever there that kind of frees her up, and the third time was natural. So she did all three. But the first time, when the woman gives birth, the contraction, right? When the baby is contracted out of the mom, it squeezes the chest, allows the mucus to come out, and then the baby start crying, right?
Yeah.
Through a C-section, it don't happen like that. You don't have the contraction. They cut the baby up, so the baby might not cry. So they grab the baby by the leg, start slapping his ass like that.
Yeah.
It's the most weird, like, and when until that baby cries, I swear to God, it's the most stressful thing in the world.
Well, I feel like when my wife was giving birth, it was the same thing, but there was the problem. Like I'm not going to get into it, but there are issues with the
Yeah,
doctor and the stuff, and it got to the point where the every time she had a contraction, the baby's heart rate would drop dangerously low. So it came down to a ten
middle
minute
child,
make a
same
decision.
thing.
That's it. So we
Yep.
went in, but my my daughter, she So I'm in the room dealing with this, and my daughter has got, as soon as she comes out of the hole, she starts grabbing at the blankets.
Yeah.
So the doctor is fighting with my little one. He's like trying to get the blankets away from her and pull her out fully as she comes through.
Yeah.
But yeah, that moment, that thing that happened, and it was just like
It's
everything kind of stopped.
you just want at that moment you're like, please cry.
Yeah,
Imagine you're like at that moment you want that baby to cry because you know the cry is a good sign,
yeah, that's it.
right? So it's like all of a sudden that cry becomes, you start resenting that cry a little bit, right? Keeping you up, getting you tired. But something I try to remind myself, for example, when I put my kid down, put my kids to sleep, trying to feed my kid, trying to bathe my kids, something that has helped me is trying to stay focused on the task at hand.
Hmm.
Because what I realize is the overthinking gets you anxious, gets you um, irritated, So, for example, you're trying to bathe your kid or you're trying to feed your kid and kid's not eating, right? And then you start thinking he's not eating, he's going to be hungry tonight, he's going to wake up, you're looking for food. What's pissing you off is not the fact that the kid is not eating right now. The kid is fine.
Yeah,
It's the overthinking of what might happen later on. So I've noticed, to me, that's what was happening to me. So I stopped doing that. I'm like, I'm gonna sit here and you go and eat. And if you don't eat, I'm gonna take that plate away after a while and we're gonna walk away. My goal is to get you fed.
yeah,
If you put food in your body and there is enough, that's all I care about. I'm not gonna start tripping about what's gonna happen 3 hours from now. I don't know. You might be asleep. You might not be. We'll cross that bridge then. And I find by staying in the present moment, focusing on the task at hand, it helps me just kind of staying balanced. Like my kid is crying, and I'm telling you, my middle child, damn, that kid was crying at night. Was having like stomach issues and stuff like that. And sometimes, like I'm telling you, 5, 6 hours straight, going
wow,
crazy. And at first, it's that. I'm like, bro, what's wrong with the kids? I'm like just getting irritated and mad and why I'm tired. And I haven't slept in 3 days and blah, blah, blah. And all of this kind of piles up, right? But then, I shifted this mindset of, you're going to cry. My goal is to stop you from crying. Then when you're done crying, I'm going to move on to the next goal, which is getting you back to sleep.
yeah. Because
And
you're
when
the
you get
comforter,
back to
right?
sleep, pardon?
You're
Yeah.
the comforter. You're the thing. Like
Yeah.
they don't know anything. You're the
They
one
don't
that's
know
there
anything.
to bring them back down.
Not only they don't know anything, but they can't communicate any other way.
That's what I always keep in my head. Whenever she's going off and she's crying and I think there's nothing wrong and stuff like that, I'll actually look at my daughter and be like, I know you're trying to tell me something. I don't know what it is.
I don't
But
know
I know
what
it's
it
the
is.
only way you can tell me what's happening right now.
Yeah. And sometimes that's just what it is. Sometimes you just take the cry.
Yeah.
You don't know what it is. You can't fix it. There's things, and that's what I tell my wife sometimes. We hard on ourselves. We're not God.
Yeah. But
There are things we're not going to be able to fix. There's things we're not going to be always 100% sharp. There's things we got to allow. Like if the kid is crying, sometimes you got to take that tantrum.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
Sometimes you just got to allow that tantrum for an hour and just sit there and take the cry. Because nothing else, you can get mad. You can't. It don't matter if you're going to keep crying.
yeah, and then they're gonna equate your negative energy like builds up with what they're dealing with.
Builds
And
up.
that's something you said that I really liked what you were saying with the not sleeping, like you made this decision. And that's the thing that I found really started to irritate me was being at my mother-in-law's house or at a friend's house, like another, there's some friends we have that are older than us, and just even like just having dinners with people, and people being like, well, you know what, I'm gonna take the baby so you can eat your dinner, and then I'm gonna, and stuff like that, and the baby was fussy and should only calm down with me, for
Yeah.
example. And that's the thing. So finally I just started telling people, I'm like, listen, the day I decided to have a kid and then my baby was born, I knew I'm not going to drink hot coffee anymore. I'm not going to have a hot meal anymore. All
That's
of this
what it
stuff,
is,
I
bro.
don't matter. She
It
does. So if I
And
miss a meal, I don't care. If I'm up
it
all
is
night,
what
I
it
don't
is.
care.
It is what it is. The thing is, and where I'll be, to me is is them like they're my responsibility.
Yeah,
It's a responsibility at the end of the day. Like it's like I don't know. It's if you're responsible for something, you're responsible for it. There's no other way to put it. You know what I
that's
mean?
it.
It's like the moment you decided to have a kid, whether it was a decision you made, whether it was an accident, that kid is here.
Yeah,
That kid is gonna show up. And the moment that kid shows up, it's your responsibility until they die, not until you die, until they die. Because when you dead, you're still responsible for your children. They're still your children.
yeah.
You know what I mean? There's no, oh, they have your name.
Well, that's it, and
So
that's the thing that you need to take into account is that, like, I can't imagine going back to work in an office and leave my kids
same.
for 8 hours a day, 9 hours a day. So I actually, like, I'm a writer and I'm a creative coach, a writing coach, and all that stuff. So I actually created my own company. So I work from home. I set my own hours. I set my own schedule. I set it up that way. So if she
Yeah.
needs me, I stop what I'm doing and I'm there.
That
I get
that
up
and
early in the morning. The instant I hear her first cry, the pen's down. I'm out the room
and
and I'm picking her
and
up and playing with her.
to me, it's and life is a question of choice, in my opinion,
Yeah,
right? And you can choose to be a dad. You could choose to be a good dad. You could choose to be a great dad. You can choose to be whatever. I decided I'm gonna be a great dad. I've actually told all my cousins and brothers and sisters, I am not dying until I'm your kid's favorite uncle. My brothers and sisters and cousins, they know I am the favorite uncle. It don't matter, and I'm working towards it. Like I show up to their house, and I'm telling you, they're my kids. I love them. I play with them, and I treat them well like they're my own. So they know if ever your parent are gone, come see me.
yeah,
I got you. I got you. If you know what I mean. And to me, I made that decision. I didn't have to. I don't have to. It's not. It's a decision I made. So because I made that decision, that also means I'm gonna have to show up to every birthday.
yeah,
So if I have to go to work and there's a conflict of interest, now there's priorities. What matters the most to me? It's not uh, that money gonna come later. I'm gonna go to the birthday.
exactly.
I'm gonna make sure that my nephew and nieces they see me for at least 5 minutes. They know uncle is here. He showed up. Just like for my kids, we can tell anything about dad. He always showed up.
Yeah, you're living for something bigger than you.
It's transcendent. Has nothing to do with me.
That's it. That
It has nothing to do with me. It's because like I said, I might be gone tomorrow. And all that's gonna one day I asked my parents, I said, why do you guys work so hard? Because I was looking at them just like they're like slaving away, bro. Like, why do you guys work so hard? Like, chill. And they both looked at me and they smiled and they said, when we die, the only thing that's left of us is memories, traces, tracks, you know,
mhm.
things like that. There's nothing remaining except something that's not tangible. But that thing that's non-tangible, it stays forever in people's mind, in history. It's written forever. So when I and that's what my dad said. He said, when I died, I want to make sure that everybody knows that I was alive. And that really struck me. I was like, that makes a lot of sense. Imagine being alive. Nobody knows you're alive. That's not a thing. It's not, but to me, it just like, wow, I'm working so hard. I'm doing all of these beautiful things. I have, in my opinion, I'm doing God's work. And I want people to know I'm doing God's work. I want, like, to me, it's just that. And I want my kids gonna be a reflection of everything I did. My if my kids are good children, my name is gonna live on forever. It's no longer about me. If my kids do well and they go out in the world and they remember those kids, they're great kids. And their kids, they're great kids. And their kids, they're great kids. They're out there making a difference, touching people's heart, touching people's soul, touching people's spirit, making a difference in the world. To me, that's all I care about.
Yeah,
Because
that's the thing.
I'm 31 right now. I don't know if tomorrow I'm gonna be alive. I don't know if 10, 15 years from now I'm gonna be alive. My kids may have a better chance than me being alive 30, 40 years from now, just based on math.
Yeah.
And if I had all this time and all this opportunity and all is left from me is dust, I don't know what I was here for then.
That's it. And that actually brings back to memory for me is something that made a big impact on me when I was a kid. And it was like it was said about parents, but it's about everybody, I think. That
Yeah.
the true mark of what people think of you isn't what they say about you when you're in the room. It's what they say
Yep.
about you when you're not in the room.
When you're not in the room.
Right. And when
Anybody
you're,
can say anything about you when you're in the room. It's easy to lie.
yeah, that's it. But did want to bring up a thing that you mentioned, like when I was talking about my accident, you said you've got some mental health struggles that you're dealing with. I deal with
Yeah.
mental health struggles as well from this stuff. My wife does as well. And that's a conversation that we're always having is that,
Yeah.
I think a lot of our parents had things that they were dealing with that they weren't either didn't deal with or didn't want to talk about it or stuff. So, going back to parents being upset and being snappy and cranky and not explaining it afterwards, just letting it sit
Yeah.
and ride. And then
Yeah.
you're sitting there taking that on as a child because you don't have the skills and the tools to understand and break it down. And that's something my wife has keeps saying is that, she's afraid her mental health issues is going to screw up the baby, is going to cause problems with the
Yeah.
baby, is going to do whatever. And my perspective on that, and I keep trying to talk to her about it, is that's the thing is that we're knowledgeable of what we have going on, and that's where you have the conversation. That's where
Yeah.
I think parents have this fear of apologizing to their kids or showing a weakness.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas for me
Yeah.
to sit down and say, I'm sorry I snapped at you, I shouldn't have done that. You didn't
Yeah.
do anything wrong. I did something that was wrong. You're not going to
Yeah.
understand the reasons. I'm not going to get into my boss was mean and this was a bad day or
Yeah.
something that the car
Yeah.
broke
Yeah.
down. You don't know, you don't care.
Yeah.
But I was wrong. And having those open and honest conversations to let that healthy build of understanding what emotions are, understanding how
Yeah.
to express yourself and stuff. So I wanted to know what's your opinion on having those conversations and how do you deal with mental health struggles and three kids?
So, um, I don't think I'm special in in the sense where, or I'm unique in the sense where I'm the only parent with multiple children and mental health issues. I think the moment you become a parent, mental health issues follow. you know.
Yeah.
Um, but that being said, my philosophy is the way you do one thing is how you do everything. Right. If you can't apologize to a grown person, you're not gonna apologize to your kids. If you can't apologize to people before you have kids, you're not gonna apologize to your kids. It's just that's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
I'm I the first person to recognize my wrong. And that's why I'm very authentic. I don't try to hide who I am. I don't because then the more you hide, the more you have to explain when people uncover.
No,
I
you have
don't
to
want to
remember.
explain. And more you have to remember, I don't want to do this. It's tiring.
Yeah.
And not only the more you lie, the more it's stressful. The more you hide, the more you got to make up things to keep hiding. It's stressful.
Yeah.
It
And
creates
even comes to
stress on
lying to
yourself.
yourself. That's one thing I
Lying to
find.
yourself.
If I miss a deadline or something, oftentimes we're sitting there, we say, like, oh, I didn't have the time to. And
I
it's
didn't
like,
have
I
the
usually catch
time.
myself. I'm like, no, I didn't take the time
I didn't
to
take the
do
time. I didn't
this.
make the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't make it happen. Period.
Yeah.
And to me, it's the way I do one thing, and that's why I try to be very consistent in my behavior throughout everything I do, not just in parenting. I think the way I parent is the way I behave myself. The way my parenting is a direct reflection of who I am as a person. I'm patient with people. The same way I respond to my kid is the same way I respond to comments, with calm and composure.
Yeah.
Sometimes I snap. Days like that. I'm
Hmm.
not gonna be perfect all the time, but I truly believe that the way you do one thing is how you do everything. And I try to be very consistent. And the way I treat my wife with respect, I treat my kids with respect. You know, if I make a mistake and my kids see that I make a mistake, I'm gonna apologize. Kids are not stupid.
Yeah.
And that's very important to know. Kids are not dumb and they got elephant memories.
That's it. And that's the thing I like that I kind of think of too is that they're not stupid. They
They're
just
not.
don't have the tools.
They don't have the tools to, my kid is, my oldest is extremely smart, is a copy paste of me, just lighter complexion. And the kid is ridiculously smart, advanced. He understands everything. And he caught me lying one time. He called me out on it. He said, Dad, you lying. And I looked at his mom. She looked at me. She laughed. I laughed. I said, my fault. I was lying. They're not dumb. They know.
Yeah.
And they know, they understand, they can feel your energy, they can sense what's going on. And it's important. I don't think it's you should have sit down and have a conversation with young children and talk about, well, this is what's going on now. You don't, you shouldn't, in my opinion, I don't want to put that stress on my kid.
Yeah.
But if I do something wrong, if I expect my kids to apologize when they do something wrong, and I don't apologize when I do something wrong, I shouldn't be mad when they don't apologize when they do something wrong.
Yeah. It's leading by example.
Just leading by example. Just the way you do one thing is how you do everything. That's what I believe. So when it comes to having those conversations, to me, I show. I don't have conversation about to start telling my kids you got to respect women. I got a woman at home. I can show them that the way I'm gonna treat their mom is the way they're gonna treat every woman in the world.
Yeah. And that's something that I respect about your videos too, is that it's, I don't want to say wholesome content, but it's loving content. It's supportive content
It's
that you have
positive.
and
It's
stuff. And it's positive. And that's something that I've got since way before I had a daughter. My plan was if I ever had a daughter, when she turns 14 years old, I'm taking her out on a date. I'm opening the
not.
car door. I'm doing all the stuff
Why
that the
not?
gentleman should do. I'm showing her the way she should be treated and the way she
That's
deserves to
right.
be treated by someone.
That's right. That's
And,
right.
and that's something I had planned since I was like 18, 19 years old. I've always wanted to have kids. I've always wanted to share my life experiences
Yeah.
and stuff. So,
I was always scared to have a daughter. And I think that's why I didn't have a daughter yet. I am terrified of having a daughter.
yeah,
I'm terrified of having a daughter. I have boys, and I should have been terrified of having boys. Be honest, this is the most terrifying shit in the world. They look just like you, they act just like you, they get mad just like you, they do stupid shit just like you, they look just like you, and they remind you of all the negative things you've done.
see, that's what I was, that's exactly what I was afraid of. Like, I think she's going to take after me
It's
already, but if I had a boy that took after me, my hair would be more gray than it is.
oh my God, it's and boys they got different energy, man. You got
Yeah.
you have no choice with boys but to lead by example. Because the
Yeah.
moment you yell at their mom, they're gonna yell at their mom.
Yeah. That's it.
And I'm telling you, I'm 6'6", 220 pounds. My boys are probably all gonna be taller, bigger than me. It's fine right now if they, raise their voice at mom. Because I can swiftly grab them by one arm and drag them in the room and yell
Yeah.
and be all big. It's gonna be a different story 17 years from now. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's gonna be a different story. So to me, I don't want to start doing that work when they're like 6'7", 235 pounds, stubborn as hell, and they don't want to listen to nobody because it's gonna come. I was 17 years old, big as hell, stubborn, no, not listening to nobody.
So
I
that's it. That
know.
was the only, I think it was around that time, like 17, 18 was the closest. I mean, my dad and I always play fought and stuff like that, but I think that was the
Yeah.
first time that we actually came close to throwing hands was there was something that happened and my dad and I got in each other's face. And I think that's something that every guy kind of has with their father, is that there's a moment
Yeah.
where you're going to push boundaries and you're going to push too
Yeah.
far and it's going to come down. Now, luckily, nothing happened,
Yeah.
but I still remember that even with all my memory loss, that was a thing. Like, it was intense where we were close to
Yeah.
getting
I
into it.
remember it's interesting, and I think that's the reason why I'm very calm and composed about everything. Because I remember one day, I must have been 15 years old, I think. I did some stupid stuff at school. My dad was mad at me and came and grabbed me and came and, yelled at me in front of my friends. I felt very embarrassed. So we in the car. My dad is very silent. It's a dead silent in the car. And we get home and I decide that's some bullshit. I'm gonna say something today. Right? I'm mad. I'm like, bro, look, I was a class clown. I was a very popular kid. And you can't imagine my dad coming and embarrassing me like that in front of my friends. I didn't really take that lightly. I had a reputation to manage, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm just going off on my dad. And the man never said a word. Never said a word until I shut up. And he asked me when I was done. Are you done? I said, yes. He said, go to your room. I like, oh, damn. So when somebody calm like that, after you grill them for like 30 minutes, and there's this dangerous calmness about them, you're gonna calm down. It's just something, there's this energy, and my dad taught me that is I don't need to yell at you. And I was in another podcast, and I was, you know, when I was young, I had a lot of anger issues. I was fighting a lot. Just a like triggered kid. Like you touch me, boom, I'm gone. This is anger issues, right? Very different than my dad. And because I always wanted to be the complete opposite of what my dad was, which funnily enough, damn, the exact way my dad is, right? So is I was fighting a lot, like very, very angry kid. Why? Not quite sure, but I would fight all the time. And then I was telling the girls on the podcast, I felt like fighting and winning the fights made me feel like I was a top dog. I'm barking and nobody gonna bark louder than me. Y'all gonna know I'm the top dog. And I find that today, I still feel like the top dog. I just don't feel like I need to bark.
Yeah.
And I just don't feel like any other top dog is intimidating to me. And is that mindset to me that now somebody comes to me in my comment section on some crazy stuff, you're not gonna move me. You're
Yeah.
not gonna move me, right? I might answer and you might I'm not, but you're not gonna move me. You're not gonna get at me. And it's just something I realize, and some people, people in general, a lot of people don't communicate properly. It's it's hard to communicate properly, especially when you got feelings and stuff like that. It's hard. So there's things that you understand that there's such thing as intent,
Mhm.
right? Was was that person trying to piss you off? Was that person trying to make you bark? Yeah, my dog. I got an Italian Mastiff at home.
Oh,
She's
nice.
big.
Oh, yeah.
She's a really big dog, beautiful dog. She quiet. Nobody knows we have a dog. The moment you're gonna step close to the door, you're gonna know we have a dog.
Yeah.
You don't need to bark all the time. You need to bark when it's necessary. And that's something as a man with as a young man, you gotta learn, right? As a young man, you gotta, especially somebody like me where, I was kind of a cool kid, kind of a class clown, kind of a popular kid. You kind of feel like you gotta, fight to stay there, or like it's whatever the case may be. Are you barking and fighting and trying to intimidate everybody and trying to show off and blah blah blah? And then you think that's what's making you a top dog. But have you seen an Italian Mastiff? Tell me that dog needs to bark for you to be intimidated by that dog. You don't.
Exactly. Yeah.
It don't. And that's a mindset to me that I had to learn. I had to calm down. I had to, because I'm telling you, if my kids bark like I was barking, I'm gonna have problems, bro. I'm gonna lose my hair.
Yeah,
I'm telling
that's it. Like and that's a big thing is trying to maintain that calm and just realize that the louder you yell, the less you're heard.
you. Yeah,
Right?
like every time I yell, my kid has that smirk. My oldest, he has that smirk on his face. He knows I got him.
Yeah.
My oldest is, oh my goodness. Sometimes I wish I could punch him in the throat, bro. He just knows how to push the button, and that's one thing I want to mention about kids, bro. They're master manipulators. Kids will pull the strings, bro, and make you like. I have not seen anything like it. I thought I had snakes. You know when you got friends and they're manipulators and
Hmm.
you thought they were good people. Imagine those your kids.
Yeah.
It's like, and especially, and you see them playing mom and dad. And that's why I was in one of my latest videos. I said, before you got kids, make sure y'all get on the same page because your kids, all they care about is getting what they want. My son, right now, we're in a period where all he says, well, me, I want that. Me, I want this. I want, and I this, and I this. And I try to explain to him, bro, it's not always I. You got two brothers. Sometimes it's we.
Yeah.
But he don't care about that. You can tell him all you want. He's 4.
Yeah.
Talk about we, bro. Get me my Spider-Man.
Well, that's it. And that's the thing. They are manipulators. Like, I know when I was a kid, my parents told me these two quick stories that I used to do. And like, if I wanted a cookie, I would wait till my mom was on the phone
Yep.
talking to someone and she'd get into the, yeah, yeah, yeah. So then I'd sneak up, Mom, can I have a cookie? Yeah. And I'd
Uh-huh.
go grab.
Yep.
And she was like, what are you doing? I'm like, I asked, you said yes. And so obviously I'd get in for that. Or the other thing I'd do would be like,
Genius.
Mom, can I have a cookie? No. Can I have a cookie? No. Can I have a cookie? No. Can I have 2 cookies? No, you can only have one. All right.
Done. Kids is, and my son does that. 5 minutes. No. 5 minutes. No. 10 minutes. No. 5 minutes. Bet. And
Yeah.
I swear, you're like, where do they get? But it's like, it's not a bad trait. And I'm laughing about it, and we're making jokes, but that's how they learn. You
Yeah.
know, they observe, they see mom and dad react differently to different stuff. They feel differently about certain stuff. Mom is more lenient on that than dad. Dad is stricter on that than mom, and they navigate through that, and they get really good at navigating through it. They
Yeah,
get
they
really
do.
good at it. They get really, really good at it. And sometimes it's about sitting down with mom and be like, yo, baby, look, I told him no 3 times already. It's, can you please say no? Because sometimes mom's gonna want to say yes because, and sometimes dad's gonna want to say yes just because. But sometimes you got to get on the same page because the moment you guys break that bond or show any weakness in that bond, like I said, this kid's a massive manipulator. They're gonna get what they want.
They're going to monopolize on that. And that was something that we were talking about the other day. All these people are like, oh, we're going to have kids to save our marriage. No, you're not.
No, you're
My
not.
wife and I never fought before we had kids.
No, you're not. You're not. If you think kids are gonna save your marriage,
Yeah.
get a divorce already.
Yeah. It's not going to happen. Like we
Not gonna
fought
happen.
maybe 2 or 3 times. Since we've
Not
got the
gonna happen.
baby, it's so stressful. There's so much lack of sleep. There's all this stuff. Like we don't fight, but we'll bicker with each other. And we never did that
It's
stuff before.
it is stressful, bro. Just imagine the dynamic. Everything changes. Now you are responsible. You used to be, sometimes I think I just sit here and I think about how my wife and I used to live mind free when we
Yeah.
had kids. You wake up whenever you want. And even though you got to wake up to work, it's a different when you were getting wake up by your alarm and getting wake up by cries. It's a different type of waking up.
Yeah, it is.
That that in itself is stressful. That in itself is because to be I'm not a morning person. When I wake up, people see me nice. My wife knows. Do not talk to this man until he's actually awake. He might be walking around the house right now, but I can tell he's not awake. And the moment I say something remotely that he doesn't like, the entire house is gonna know it. So all three of y'all boys, you shut up and you let this man have his coffee, please. I'm not a morning person.
Yeah.
I'm not a morning person. And it don't matter. Sometimes it's like, hey babe, I'm just I'm asleep
Yeah.
and I'm not functioning properly. And so imagine that, and that's just me in general. So imagine now me without sleep, I wake up and I can't function. Now, me with kids, I wake up, I still can't function, but now I have even less hours of sleep than I had 3, 4, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to deal with the same thing. It is hard as hell. It is such a challenge. It is constant conversation with your significant others. It is constant, disagreement, argument. Should we do this? Should we not? Well, you did this. Okay. Well, how do we adjust? It's constant adjustment. If you're not on the same page with kids, Lord have mercy on your couple because Lord,
Yeah. It's
I
not
don't
gonna
know
go.
what I don't know what trials you. I don't know what challenges you like kids do.
Well,
I
kids
remember,
is every morning, like before kids, you wake up and yeah, like you said, your alarm clock goes off, whatever it is that wakes you up and gets you going. Every single morning, I find now, it's like waking up with an adrenaline shot to the heart. It's
yep,
just like
man,
you're up.
you're spot on. Kids are that. You wake up and you're up. You don't have a time to transition from I'm waking up to let me just take my no, you're up, bro.
Yeah, you're
Kids are
doing it.
up because my oldest is up every morning before like between 6 and 7. He goes to bed at 7. He's clockwork. Goes to bed at 7. He's up between 6 and 7, and it takes him 30 seconds to be full throttle.
Yeah,
30 seconds, not not more than 30. I'm telling you, the moment he opens his eyes and he see lights,
yeah,
the kid is going until 7 o'clock at night,
yeah. I get that. That's
non-stop.
it's like this. If we could harness the energy of kids, because my baby, she's 9 months old. New Year's Day, she took her first step.
Mm-hmm.
She's crawling really fast, getting faster every day. She's doing all this stuff, and it's gotten to the point now where, like, again, talking about being smart. We put her in one thing, she learned how to get out of it. We put her in her high
Yep.
chair. We're trying to make dinner. We put her in her high chair to keep her calm. She learned that if she rocks, she can walk her high chair across the room.
Yep.
So we can't even put her in that high chair anymore and have her still be in the same spot. So now it's the same thing. You open your eyes, like you take a nap with her, you open your eyes, like she cries, you have to have that adrenaline start to wake up. Otherwise, she's over to the edge of the bed and trying to climb off. Like before,
On
it's
somewhere
wild.
in the house that there shouldn't be with something in their mouth they shouldn't have.
Yeah,
Is if you're not up, if you're not like you don't have a choice but to be 100% awake the moment your babies are awake.
yeah,
Because so my middle child, so my oldest, we call him Usain Bolt because he's ridiculously fast. A middle child is Spider-Man because the man climbs like I've like nothing I've seen before. The kid climbs like nothing I've seen before, man. And he is fast at climbing. He climbs everywhere on furniture, you name it.
yeah.
He'll climb it. Imagine 24, like until he goes to sleep, you have to be constantly aware. This kid is going to end up on the top of the furniture. At one point in the day, I'm going to have to get up and sprint and make sure he doesn't fall.
Yeah. That's it. And even
At
if you're right
one,
there, Even if you're right there.
Even if you're right there.
Our daughter yesterday, my daughter pulled her stuff up on the coffee table. My wife was right there. She had her hands hovering, and she dropped, fell. So she didn't like fall over. She like
Yeah.
dropped and fell over and smoked her head off off
It
the edge of the
takes
coffee table. And now she has a
it
big
takes point
thing.
1 second. It
Yeah,
doesn't matter whether you're there or not. It you can't, like I said, you cannot be 100% sharp all the time as a parent. And that's why I want parent to really be easy on them. It's hard to be a parent.
yeah,
Being responsible for a whole life. Your job is to keep that thing alive. Imagine,
yeah,
it's not a plant. If it dies, it dies. You go and you buy another one. It's not a plant.
yeah.
You gotta keep that thing alive.
Well,
You gotta keep
that's
that thing
yeah.
alive and safe.
There's a video game that came out a while ago from one of the health agencies called Dumb Ways to Die. I don't know if you've
Hmm.
seen it or not, but you got these little like pill things, like little jelly bean things you got to keep alive.
Yeah.
Today I walked into our bedroom. I looked at my wife. I'm like, can we start calling her Dumb Ways to Die at Home Edition? Because it's like all it
Because
is
that's
trying to
what they
keep this
do.
kid alive.
They put things in, like, bro, it's like you don't know why. The kid's walking and then he sees a sharp thing. Let me pick it up and put it in my mouth. Just see how it feels.
Well, that's why I don't understand how humans have gotten to the point that we've gotten. Because when you're too young to understand what anything is, your first instinct is to shove everything in your mouth.
You shove everything in your mouth. You
And but
shove
we get
everything
here.
in their
But
mouth and it's, oh my goodness. It is stressful, bro. It is, but it is what it is.
it is, and you're doing a great job at helping people break this
I
down and
appreciate
understand it. But
that.
on top of that stuff, you're working finances. You
Yeah.
and your wife have Tukes and Coats going on.
Yeah.
Before we get into Tukes and Coats, I got a question.
Yeah.
I was bouncing around your site the other day. I was actually showing it on stream the other day, chatting it up, and no, I'm kind of confused. I have a feeling you're in Canada.
I am in Canada.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and but when I was on your site, it said that you only ship in America. Is that like North America or just like the U.S. of A. that you ship?
Oh, it's North America.
North
Only
America,
ship in
because
North
I'm
America
definitely
right
picking up
now.
some of that
Yeah,
gear.
I think I must have. So I do everything by myself.
So that's what I was going to ask you. Like the question
Yeah,
that, but I saw this, and I mean, we've gone over a lot of it a roundabout way, but you're a father of three kids, you're a content creator, you're
yeah,
working finances, you got a merchandise line you got going on, you're doing
yeah.
interviews, all this other stuff. How do you do all this stuff and still be a dad?
Being a dad is my priority. It's I got a great partner. You can't do this thing alone. It's really hard. I've always been a grinder. So that's first of all, it's not like, you know, I was a parent. It's I've all the way I am is I've always been like that. My granddad, my mom's dad, who was an entrepreneur, is excuse me, had one of the first printing company in Congo.
Hmm.
Um, so he was very successful dude. Just running different businesses, doing different things. And I got people asking me all the time, like, bro, why are you doing so many things? I'm like, bro, I'm gonna die one day, yo. Like, let me enjoy me. I always tell my parents I don't see myself doing one thing for the rest of my life. There's so many things to do. I'm curious.
Yeah,
I'm curious. I'm excited. I don't know. I really don't know how to explain. Like it's hard. There's no secret to it. It's not like it's easy. It's not like sometimes I'm not don't want to just say F everything and close everything and
yeah.
but it's I enjoy the process, man. I enjoy the process.
I definitely
it's,
respect that because I've got, the
it's
same thing. I've got my own merchandise line that I'm launching. I do the streaming, I do the writing, I do the creative coaching,
it's
do all that other stuff.
it,
I've got podcasts I do and stuff, and being a parent and staying on top of that. But again, I think
yeah,
that's also comes to when I get tired. I like the way you put it with the legacy they're leaving and stuff. But for me, it's like my daughter will know that I will always stop whatever I'm doing to be there for her. But
yeah,
she's also going to see dad doing the grind, getting
yeah,
stuff done, making an impression, and helping other people, doing stuff to support and build
yeah.
up other people
Man,
along the way.
I believe I don't believe in limits. I just don't. I don't believe in limits. My dad, if you Google my dad's name, my dad is the special advisor for the president of Congo after being a pediatrician for 30 excuse me for 30 years.
Oh wow.
So my dad is on top of the political world in Africa. Um, and I can't believe in limits when I see my own dad being there.
Yeah,
I
that's
can't.
wild.
I can't believe in limits when I see both my parents coming from nothing. You know, my granddad, my mom comes from something. My dad doesn't. And I've seen my parents' bank account. I've seen how much money they've made in their life. I've seen how many lives they've impacted. I just can't believe in limits.
I respect that.
I
That's
haven't
great.
seen I haven't seen limits in my life beside the limits that we set on our own. I
Yeah.
haven't seen that. So to me, it's hard to believe that there's something I can't do. You know, I when it's funny because back in 2013, I went back, playing basketball. I broke my ankle and then went back to play. And I told my all my friends we're gonna go and win a championship. In 2014, we won a championship. In 2008, I said I win a championship. I want to win a championship. You know, I told my wife, hey, before 2021, I'm gonna have 100,000 followers. I had 200,000 followers. You know, and it's like I feel like to me, it's like I'm gonna show you this. Like this is a board. Like I just write my stuff down, and then I just see it happening. It's weird,
Yeah. But that's the
and
healthy way of doing it. That's a great mind frame.
it's just, and maybe because I don't set myself to do anything I don't like. It's
Yeah.
hard to it's hard to give up on things that you like.
That's very true. That is.
And I really don't do anything that I don't like anymore. I worked in insurance for so long because it's a good job, it's a respectful job, and it's a respectful industry. People look at you. I remember being, I think I was my wife and I, because we've been in the industry for a long time. We've been in insurance for a long time, but we must have been. It was before we had kids. My wife and I have been together almost 10 years, or plus 10 years plus. We met in university, and so then we moved to a bigger town, and we're both in insurance, and you're walking and people asking, what are you doing? What do you do? It's like, oh, we're working insurance. I'm an insurance agent. She's a claim adjuster. Wow. How old are you guys? 22, 23. Wow. And bro, that boosts you, right?
Oh
It's
yeah.
like it don't matter if you like it. People like you,
Yeah.
right? But I never really like my wife. She loves that. She loves her job. I don't think she want to do anything else. But me, it wasn't my thing. I stopped.
It's good to be able to flex like that. And that's the thing, like not being able to just always chasing, not chasing the next thing, but like being flexible, moving, doing what you want to do. And because I know for myself, it was
Yeah.
2013 when I was hit by the car, and I was a thing. Like I have
Mhm.
my life before my accident, my life after my accident. I was 5 years of rehab, and I lost everything. I had to rebuild
Yeah.
my entire life from the ground up.
I can't
And
imagine
that was the thing where I was like, you know what? I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not tying myself into I am this.
this.
I'm doing this stuff. I'm leaving my life. My life is now lived to better the lives of others.
Exactly. To me,
And that's great.
I don't feel that I need to be something. I don't
Yeah.
feel like I need to be a doctor. I need to be a lawyer. I think being me is enough. And I have the confirmation of almost 500,000 people that being me is perfectly fine.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like
And a lot of people, and that's the thing too, is that's not just me. It's you, it's the next person. You are fine with what you are. You ain't got to be a doctor. We might not have enough doctors, but not everyone is born to be a doctor, and that's okay.
yeah, that is. That's a big
Not
thing.
everyone is born to be LeBron James or to be Michael Phelps, and that's fine.
Yeah. And that's the like there's a thing that we do in North America that drives me wild. And I'm really trying I do the same thing. I'm trying to back away from it. But in a lot of cultures, asking someone, what do you do for a living, is the exact same as walking up and saying, how much money do you make?
How
And
much
when
money do you
some
make?
yeah, and
Yeah,
when someone tells you how much or asks you how much or what you do for a living, you immediately see them gauging how much respect to give you. And
and
that's something I'm trying to get away from. I try not to ask people, what do you do for a living? I try to ask, like, what are you interested in? What do you do for hobbies? What do you do
yeah,
for this stuff? Is that stuff isn't who they are. But in North America, that is, you're trained to have your, what your profession is your identity.
yeah, and so what do you do? I'm a doctor. That's not what you do. That's what you. What does a doctor do? You help people. But saying you're a doctor attaches value to who you are,
Yeah.
right? What do you do? I'm an insurance adjuster. What do you do, for God's sake? What does an insurance adjuster does? You know what I mean? So in not only in the question, but in the answer too, it shows our mentality that it's not when we answer that, when we ask that, it's not really about what you do. It's about your status. It's about how I should address you. Should I address you as sir, or should I address you as yo?
Yeah. That's it.
Based on what you do, based on what you look like, based on how you're dressed, based on this, based on that, right? And to me, is there's like I don't like that. I don't like that. It's to me. I first of all, I don't want people like I don't like boxes. I'm
Yeah.
6'6", too tall to be in a box. you know,
Too tall to fit
it's
in most beds, man.
I'm too tall to fit in most beds. So it's like you want to put me in a box, bro. It's
Yeah.
you want me to be this, like you want me to be this, but and something that killed me is, you know, I went to private school, and because my parents are who they are, and obviously the journey they've been on, they want you to they have hopes and expectations for you, and right, and you know subconsciously sometimes you follow up on those and you start doing what your parents want you to do, right? But the tough thing is now I'm trying to do what my parents want me to do, but I'm in an environment where people don't want me to be that.
Yeah. But it's good
It's
that you're
hard.
blazing your path and you're doing your own, like, you're still paying homage and respect
Hmm.
and you're doing your own
But
thing.
it's I told my parents my parents are great, man. They old school, but I say the greatest strength of the reason why humans are surviving today and dinosaurs are dead is because we're able to adjust, to adapt. And I find my parents are great at doing that adaptive time. You're not gonna tell. It's not every old head you're gonna tell, "Hey, look, I'm I'm really nothing. I'm really nothing. You're a doctor. I
Yeah.
make jokes on TikTok,
Yeah. But very successful. But
but
that's the thing.
very,
Like, I actually
you know
like
what I
to,
mean?
yeah,
It's
I've gotten to the point now when people ask me what I do, because, I create worlds, I create
yeah,
universes, I do this stuff, writing does all this stuff. But when people ask me what I do for a living, I tell them I rearrange the alphabet,
yeah. This.
right? Like, I
I
sit down and I
mean,
rearrange the alphabet every day.
and then they get curious. What you mean? And I met a lawyer one time, an injury lawyer, and the guy left such an impression on me, and I realized how much the dude loved his job. Okay, so at the time I work in insurance, I'm an insurance adjuster. I'm working in this big building downtown. Feeling living the high life. You walk in all the executive and feeling looking at people in suits and all that. 25 years old, I'm on top of the world.
Yeah.
And so walk in with my coffee and so I walk in and I press the button for the elevator. The elevator opens And I walk in, I'm the only guy in the elevator. I see all the executives and people in suits and stuff like that walking in the morning rush. There's an old guy looking like nothing who screams, "Hold the door, please." And he runs in the elevator and I hold the door. I press number 9, which is the level where my office was. And he's like, "You're going to number 9 too?" I'm like, "Yeah." Like, "What do you do over there?" I said, "I'm an insurance adjuster." I said, "Oh, cool. That's where I'm going. I'm going to pick up a check." I'm thinking it's a client, probably who handled the claim and now coming to pick up his money.
Yeah.
He was like, "How long you been working here?" You know, and now I'm gonna start asking questions. And when you speak to a lawyer, you know you're speaking to a lawyer.
Yes, my sister's a lawyer.
You know what I mean?
I
So
know what
you
you
know.
mean.
And at some point I'm realizing that the way that guy looks has absolutely nothing to do with who he actually is. I don't know yet. And conversation going, and so we get to number 9 and we walk out. And I asked him, "By the way, what you come in to do here?" He said, "Oh, I'm coming to pick up a check." I was like, "Oh yeah, do you have a claim?" It said, "No." I said, "Oh, what do you do?" Here's his answer: "I'm an ambulance chaser extraordinaire."
Nice.
The guy loves his goddamn job, bro.
That's
The guy
awesome.
loves his job. And at first I was like, I kind of didn't think about it. We laughed it up. It just went to my desk and worked. My wife is an adjuster too, but she deals with the lawyer. She deals with the legal stuff.
Yeah.
So she knows that lawyer, she knows all these people. And at some point throughout the day, it just hits me that the guy meant he's a goddamn injury lawyer. That's what he meant. You know what I mean? Chases ambulances for people who are injured, and then he makes money. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So it took me a while to get it. And then I told my wife that, and she's like, "Oh, I know the guy. He's so quirky. Like he's odd. He's an old guy. He makes, but he's one of the most successful injury lawyer in our area."
Yeah.
I kid you not, you see his billboard everywhere. But if you see the dude in front of you, you're like, "Bro, who are you?" And then he tells you he's an ambulance chaser extraordinaire. Like, what? The guy loves his life, bro.
See, I love
The guy,
people like that. Like
the
I
guy,
used to work
the guy
before the
loves his life.
yeah.
He's he hasn't defined himself as a lawyer. You know, when you ask, he doesn't say I'm a lawyer. He said I'm an ambulance chaser extraordinaire. This is what I do on a daily basis. I go and find people who are injured. I help them get money, and I get me some too. Bam.
Yep. And he
And
knows
that
what he's
answer to
about and he
me
loves it.
is that's what he knows. He knows what he's about. He knows what he's good at, and he doesn't care about the rest.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's just what you need. Know what you're good at. You don't got to be good at everything.
See, and that's what I respect. I used to work in before the pandemic. I worked in classical music, and I worked with the Canada's largest classical music organization, and I worked with the biggest names from all across the world. And
Yeah.
there were some that were like pretty big, and you couldn't talk to them. Like you couldn't even look at them. And there's
Mm-hmm.
others that were massively, massively huge stars. There was one guy, Henrik Elpers, is a pianist, and he plays Beethoven, but he plays Beethoven's almost his entire repertoire from memory. The
That's
man does
crazy.
not use sheet music.
That's nuts.
And he would come in like because we'd be doing a festival, so he'd come see
Yeah.
someone else perform, and he'd come into the back room or come into like the lounge area or something like that, and he'd sit there and just chat with you. Like he was one of the coolest down to earth guys you'd ever come
Yeah.
across, and this guy is just a superstar genius when it comes to
Yeah.
music. And to look at him, you'd never think it, right? But he loves what he does, and
Yeah.
it was
He's,
great. But
there's something about, and I used to be big on name brands, stuff like that, wearing Nike, Gucci, all the things. I was a cool kid,
yeah,
right? And then I moved to Canada because I grew up in France, right? I moved to Canada. I was at 18. So I'm French. That's French is my first language.
okay,
So I moved to Canada when I was 18 with my entire family, and so I had redid my grade 12 in Canada. So when I came to Canada, I was in grade 12. Get in the school bus in the morning. Right. First of all, I wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Frenchie, I don't know if you've seen French people. We like how we look.
Oh yeah.
We like to looking good. I'm wake up 6 o'clock in the morning, and I was a sponsored athlete in France. So I played basketball, had a lot of Nike shoes, Nike gears because our team was sponsored by Nike. I love stuff. So I'm, picking my stuff and I'm about to kill it as cool today. The girls gonna love me. And I show up and it's pajama day. Everyone in the goddamn high school is wearing goddamn pajama.
Yeah.
And I'm out here looking like I'm going freaking, I don't know, red carpet or whatever. And I realize ain't nobody care about how I look.
Yeah.
Why did I spend so much time? Nobody cared. Not only nobody cared, everybody wanted me to look like them. Bro, where are you PJs?
Yeah.
This was such a wake-up call to me. Your appearance will never matter in terms of, who you're truly going to be. If people like you for who you are, you can wear whatever you want. You can might well be naked if you want.
Yeah.
If people don't like you for who you are, there's no piece of clothing, no amount of makeup that's going to cover up for that.
That's a
That's
really good
important.
perspective.
And you know, I realized that it's like, hey, we're not gonna judge you based on what you look like right now. We're not gonna judge you. It's like, first of all, we judging you because why are you being so different than us, bro? Like, why are you coming like you're going to the red carpet on PJ days, bro? Like, who do you think? And it's like, damn, like I just thought I was trying to look good. But to me, it's like I could have kept doing it, but it's like it stopped like it's it stopped mattering to me like how what I look like in terms of my appearance, everyday appearance. Like that's why I'm always wearing a hoodie. I'm usually wearing a hoodie, joggers, and a toque.
Yeah.
I don't want to brush my hair. I ain't got that much time. I don't want to spend bro, I used to spend like 15 minutes, half hour just figuring out what I'm gonna wear this morning. Worse than a girl.
Well, I gotta say,
I'm
like
telling you,
that's.
where's but it's like there's just things that don't matter that much. I'm not saying it's not okay to want to look good. I'm just saying it just don't matter that much.
Yeah. Oh, I agree with you on that. Like that's one of the
Yeah.
reasons why I've got the beard is so I don't have to shave. And I mean, my daughter likes
Yeah.
playing with this, same thing with long hair. But I mean, with this, I'm sitting here wearing my joggers and dress shirt, and I'm also repping my Biggie
Bro, I got
T-shirt.
oh man, I wish I had my hoodie, bro. I got the hoodie
Do
with the
you?
same thing, bro. Oh, I
Yeah.
wish I had my hoodie somewhere. I swear it's the same. I'll send you a picture, bro. I'll
Yeah,
send you a
definitely.
picture. Hey, but look, like I said, to me is and that's one thing, like being authentic to me is it's hard to be authentic when you're trying that hard,
Yeah.
in my
No, that's it.
opinion.
But
To
I do
me, I,
want to talking about fashion though. Like you're so what's going on with Tukes and Coats? Why'd you start it? What's it about? Because I know there's more to it than just an
yeah,
apparel line.
so what I want to do, so at first I wanted to just have merch. My goal was I'm gonna hit 100,000 followers. I'm gonna drop some merch like everybody does.
Yeah.
And then I hit 100,000 followers, and I was like, I don't want to do like everybody does. I haven't done like everybody does. The whole reason, my TikTok's popping is because I'm going against what is popular, which is, you know, sexuality, dances, talking about things that are, I don't know, like controversial. I'm going away from all of that. I'm being I'm being me. Y'all getting the me. I wake up in the morning, I shoot a video. I don't like all the videos you've seen. I don't know how many video I put out. There's not one that I actually sat down and I'm like, I'm gonna do this. There's not
Nice.
one. It's I see, I'm like, and I always tell my wife I'm a victim of my imagination. There's so much shit going on in my head on an everyday basis that TikTok is a blessing to me. TikTok is a blessing to me because I can express myself.
Yeah.
I can express myself. I can the jokes I have in my head, boom, shit. I just gotta put it out on TikTok. The things I want to say, I just gotta put it out on TikTok. And there's this to me. So I just wanted to do that. And then Tukes and Coats came. Well, Tukes is me. Coats is my wife. So just because I always have a toque on, and my wife always has a house coat on. Parent definition of being a parent. You don't
Yeah.
dress. That's really what it is. My wife always has a house coat on because she don't have to dress. Got to breastfeed.
Yeah. As my
And
wife's like the
then
same thing. She's like, I always wear the same three outfits for the past 9 months. I'm like, I don't care. Like that's what you're doing.
that's what it is. Like sometimes right? And so that's where the name came from. So if you
Nice.
follow her on TikTok, her name is House Coat Mommy, right? And so that was the idea behind the name. And everything that we're gonna do, we're gonna drop a podcast together too. Is gonna be the Tooth and Co show. Um, but that's what it was. And then my idea is every piece of clothing that I'm selling is gonna have an important message. And that message is going to be a positive message. It's going to be when somebody sees what you're wearing, they know you're about that positive life.
Well, let us see your
Like
shirt. I mean,
don't
you're repping the shirt right now, right? That's
yeah,
Tucson
it's
coat you're wearing now.
yeah, it's and to me it's that's what it is. Like I just want people to live a better life. I want people to know they can live a better life. Everything I'm doing is to show people you can too. I'm nobody special. I'm not unique. I'm not special. Well, maybe I'm unique because but I'm not special. So everything I like the one reason I'm doing merch is because I can.
Yeah.
It's because I can. I learned how to do it. I put the work in and I sold out.
Nice.
And that's it. And I want people to see that you can too, bro. Like you just put in the work. Like that's to me, that's one thing. I want people to know they can. Like just try, bro. Try. You can't sit here and hope for the best. No. You gotta go get the best. You can't hope for the best. It's not the best is just not gonna happen on its own. You're not gonna figure out what you like just by sitting. You're not gonna be and get what you want just by sitting and waiting. To me, being patient doesn't mean just sitting and waiting. Being patient is being patient in action. You
Yeah.
show up, you show up. I got this book right here. Hold on. My favorite dude right here.
Yes.
And in his book, his dad taught him every day you show up and you lay another brick. And that's how I live. You don't focus on the wall because there is no wall until the wall is there. All there is bricks. So you show up and your focus is to lay that brick as perfectly as possible every single day. And everything I do, even my merch, is I want people. The reason everyone's like, yo, bro, why haven't you dropped? It's like because when I drop, I'm gonna make $30,000 in 5 days. That's what I'm thinking. And then I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna show y'all this is how you do it. So all of y'all talking about I ain't got enough money and I'm a dad. This is how you do it.
Yeah.
This is how you do it. This is how you go about it. This is one way you go about it.
Yeah. Well, because that's the thing. If you're with someone, if you're doing a job, if you're working for someone, you're paying. They're paying you what they think your value is.
Yeah.
Usually, they're being forced to pay you because they think your value is less
Yeah.
than that. And that's when I started my own company. My wife was like, we just had a child. We're in the middle of pandemic and stuff. And I was like, yeah, but I can make as much as I want, and I can build out what I want
You
and
just
build my
gotta
own
trust
schedule.
yourself. You just me, I always tell my wife, and we plan out everything with my wife. It's like sometimes we don't even write it down, but we just talk so much that like it's a plan and we do it. And sometimes, it's like sometimes you're in a situation that you've planned for. You just didn't realize how hard the shit was going to be
Yeah.
until you in it. But then you sit down and you're like, I am exactly where I had planned to be. I just didn't know it was going to be that hard. And when you get there, a lot of people are like, oh shit, I'm a backtrack. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And at that point, you got to realize I'm going to push a little bit further every day. I'm going to keep laying a brick. The brick don't get heavier. You just get tired. It's the same brick. It's just after just laying bricks like 15 days straight. The 16th day, you're gonna be tired. That pound 1 pound brick gonna feel like 10 pounds. And at that point, you gotta remind yourself it's only 1 pound. The 9 other pound is in my head. It's you gotta keep going.
I love
And
that.
to me, I that's why, and that's why, like, I just pick up my phone and I show this is how you do it. Your baby crying. This is how you stop your baby from crying. Don't give no excuse. Mama was not around. So no, 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 bro. Take care of your baby. Take
Yeah.
care of your son.
Well, that's not what
And
drives me nuts. People are like, oh, you're babysitting today? Like, no, I'm raising my kid. I'm not
like,
babysitting.
what you mean babysitting,
I'm
bro?
raising my child.
It's my children.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not babysitting nobody. I'm being a responsible father
That's it.
and a responsible husband because my wife needs some time.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna stay home. You mad? You gonna judge that? That's cool. I don't mind you judging it. We're not running the same race. You and I. We're not on the same track.
Yeah.
There's no reason for me to feel any type of way about how you feel about where I'm at. We're not in the same race. We're not running the same race. You and I, different race. We're not a different world. You driving a car, running bare feet, bro. We're not talking about the same. We're not
That's it.
talking about the same thing here. And it's important for people to realize that it's okay. It's okay to be focused. You just know there's when I'm down here right now, I don't know if my babies are up. Wife is up there. She holding the fort. As that too is very and that's another point, and that's for the men's out there. Um, because I can't speak for women. I don't really know what it's like to be a woman. But for the guys out there, having a strong, reliable, supportive partner will make or break you.
Yeah.
It's so important. And people can look at most successful men in the world are married or divorced, which means they were married at a point.
Yeah.
Most successful men, it is extremely hard to be successful on your own.
Yeah.
It's
You need that backup. You need that partnership.
you
One
need
hundred
you need
percent.
that partnership, bro. Yo, and it's like sometimes you just need somebody to, just to tell you good job. Wifey gonna do that, even if you're shit.
Yeah.
And sometimes even if the world think you're shit and your wifey tells you a good job, you're gonna wake up the next day and you're gonna show wifey, fuck the world.
Exactly.
It's that energy that a good wife gives you, a good partner. It's different, bro. People take that for granted.
Yeah, and
It's
you gotta flip that back too. Like that's the thing for me. Like I mean, it's pandemic, so I'm not going out and stuff. I'm not a big go
yeah.
out anyways. I prefer to be at home. But if these things like I hear coming up, I've always heard these guys, like, especially the old school fathers, are like, I've never changed a diaper, or I just go out. Baby starts crying, I go to the pub or something, and it's like I
Oh,
can't
hold on.
myself. I
Hold on,
can't
hold on, hold
go.
on. Give me one sec. Give me
Yeah.
one sec. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I stepped on my mic.
No problem.
uh,
I can't go out and like go and just chill and do something. Like if the things are going a little bit wild, my wife's like, let's go to the grocery store, take a breath, whatever. I'm not going to go and linger and dally about and go drive around for
yeah.
45 minutes because the entire time in the back of my head, I'm like, she's at
You
home
got
dealing with everything. I got to
responsibility.
go relieve her.
You
I got to
got
go help her
you got
deal
you
with
got
that.
responsibility.
Right.
And but on the flip side, though, on a note on that, to me, it's really important. And like I said earlier, you got to give. And that's for both partners. You gotta learn to remain a person,
Hmm.
not just a parent. It's very important to be a person first because you were a person before you was a parent. It's very difficult. Kids take so much time, so much bandwidth, so much energy. Sometimes you forget. And it's like you got to remind yourself it's okay to sometimes take, instead of taking 45 minutes, you take an hour and a half. That's why I tell, for us, might be easier to do. I don't
Yeah.
know why. For a woman, it's really hard to
Well,
get
yeah.
up and go and say you. And I try to remind my wife all the time, like, bro, you got to trust me. If you leave 2 hours, the house not gonna burn down.
Yeah, exactly.
The house, if you leave 2 hours, the house not gonna burn down. You know what I mean? If I would rather you being gone for 2 hours because you need to be gone than
Yeah.
you be here in my ears for 2 hours because I dropped some soap.
Yeah, that's it. You're gonna be a better you if you go and come
You a
back.
better you. You a better you. It's taking care of yourself. It's not, you're not running away from your family. You're not running away from your kids. You taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
I was arguing with my wife the other day. We got this little arguments, right? We argue all the time, not perfect. She asked me, I'm, I think I'm down here working, and she's like, "Oh, can I go take a shower?" I look at her, I'm like, "Are you really asking me if you can go take a shower?" Getting mad, like, and she looking at me like, "What?" I'm like, go take a shower. I'm like, because I don't want you to be here 3 hours from now, like rumbling and being all grumpy because you couldn't take a shower.
Yeah.
Go take that shower and come back and be happy. I'd
Yeah.
rather I'd rather take that half hour right now of the boys crying than take an hour of you being grumpy just because you couldn't shower.
Yeah, that's and there's actually someone in chat who's talking about that with
You
not
know what
being
I mean?
supportive and not being able to have a shower, and that's something that I never got like because I try to be a supportive partner. My wife supports me, and so you see all these things, the mommy blogs and all these other places where people are like, oh, I haven't showered in 3 days. I haven't been able to do this and do that. And it's like, why the hell not?
What the hell not?
Who is
And
with
and
you that
and
you can't go take a shower? You can't
but
grab 10 minutes to yourself.
there's I seen this video that people tagged me and it's called weaponize something, uh weaponize incompetence or something like that. That, baby crying the entire time mommy in the shower. Babies cry, yo.
Yeah,
Cry a lot. I'm addressing women right now. If your man tells you go take a shower, please do it and forget about them for 15 minutes. You turn the music on and you blast this bitch up
yeah,
and you stop worrying because they're not gonna die unless your husband or your baby daddy is the most incompetent person in the world. I swear to God, they will be fine for 20 minutes.
yeah. Oh, that's why I say to my wife when she gets up like that,
So
I'm like, and she's stressed. I'm like, do you think I'm going to eat the baby while you're
yeah,
gone?
it's
Like,
like,
it's
so
good.
it's and I don't like I see that in my wife. It's like she's stressed to leave, and I don't think it's they're stressed because they think we're incompetent. It's hard for a mom to just disconnect.
Yeah.
It's really hard
Well, that's something
for
we're
the
never going
mom.
to understand, right?
Something we can't go through. It's like us.
Yeah.
Hey, bro, I didn't have that thing in my belly for 9 months. I'm sorry. It's
Yeah,
different.
that's it. And you're not co-sleeping. You don't have the breastfeeding. You don't have that stuff. Like, you don't have that.
There's
It's a different bond, and it's
it's
something we'll
it's
never
it's
have.
it's a different bond that we won't have. So because I can't understand what you're going through, all I can do is make sure to remind you it's okay for you to do that. It's okay for you to go out for 3 hours. It's okay for you to go out, tell me you're gone for 2 hours, you come back 4 hours later, I'm mad. But I still you were gone for 4 hours.
Yeah.
I'd rather be mad because you were gone too long than you being mad at me because you were not gone at all.
Yeah. And it builds resentment and builds
You
fractures,
don't
stuff like that. Like,
exactly. Sometimes I tell my wife, yeah, I'm gonna go down and punch the bag for 45 minutes. I'm down there for 4 hours. If I'm down there for 4 hours, she knows there's something going through right there. That I'd better punch that bag and than punching somebody. She knows.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like, and giving people that benefit of the doubt, giving your partner that benefit of the doubt that they're not necessarily trying to do something to purposely piss you off. Like, she's gone 3 hours. She said 2 hours. Maybe that wasn't to piss me off. Maybe shit, she needed that extra hour.
Yeah.
It's really important to be easy on yourself as a parent, to remind yourself it's okay to be a person. It's okay to feel like, bro, today I don't want to do this. Pick up. My wife, sometimes I tell her, today, earlier, bro, I swear to God, I was trying to shoot a video. We went, they just announced we're going on full lockdown because of the COVID cases. Today was not a great day. I complained all. I'm not a complainer. I'm telling you, I'm not. I complained all day.
Yeah. I'm in Ontario. I've been doing the same thing.
I did not stop complaining. But while I was doing, and me, I'm like, I'm weird. Like, I'm the way I'm wired is like, if I can't be complaining and working at the same time. It's work. It's weird. It's like my mind is either focusing on doing everything that I possibly can, or it's focusing on being mad at everything it possibly can. Today was the latter. and my wife picked up everything. Picked up the kids. She picked up. It's sometimes it's like being in a relationship is 100%, 100%. There's no 75, 25, 50, 50. It's one day I'm gonna feel like shit, and I'm not gonna ask you, but you're going to have to pick it up. And
Yeah.
one day you're going to feel like absolute shit, and you're not going to tell me anything, but I'm going to have to pick it up.
And that's what a relationship is. And I remember one day
What
my
it is.
wife's jaw dropped her twice. But after the baby came, I made my wife's jaw drop. So there's once where I realized that I was being short, I was being cranky and stuff. And I came back and I was like, listen, I'm sorry. Like, I've been
Right.
shorter, I've been reactive, I shouldn't be like that.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I started doing too was her head, like, I thought it was going to pop off when I looked at her onto bed one night. And I looked at her and I said, did I do everything I could do to support you today?
Yeah.
Is there something
Gotta
more I
ask.
could have done to make you feel more supported and make you
Yeah.
have had a better day with all of this?
But those are the questions, bro. Asking how are you don't mean shit.
Yeah.
It's became such a generic question. We don't even answer it no more.
Yeah.
How are you? I'm good. You lying. I'm good. Did I do everything I do to possibly support you today? Do you feel like I could have done more to support you today?
Yeah.
That's some serious question right there.
See, that's what's
Because
going to build a relationship.
the answer you get is going to be an if she says yes, then tomorrow you do the same thing and no problem, you go into bed. If she says no, tomorrow you adjust. No problem.
Yeah. You do
Just
that.
you gotta have those conversations. It's constant adjustment, bro. And I told my wife one day, I said, she's like, oh man, we're never gonna get on the same page. But I'm like, yo, Jill, listen, we met, I was 21, you was 20. There's a whole 21 years I didn't know you. There's a whole 21 years of me with not you even being considered an option, not even knowing your existence. Let's give ourselves another 20 years and then we'll talk about we're not going to get on the same page. You know what I mean? It's,
Yeah.
it's, bro, you're not going to know all of me in 1 year. I'm not going to know all of you in 1 year. First of all, in that 1 year, that me that was 19 years before is completely different. It changes. You got to have this conversation. You got to ask the right question. You got to learn to ask uncomfortable questions. Something that might make you feel like, because hey, if she answers no to that question, bro, you
Yeah.
know, it sucks.
It does. But that's how
It
you grow and
sucks.
that's how you get
But
better.
that's how you grow.
And that's the thing is that's like these are the it's it goes back, I think, to the honesty of being able to be honest with yourself, being able to be honest with people, and be able to
Humble.
admit fault and say like how I need to improve, how can I improve, and asking for
It's
help
that.
in
It's that.
guiding
And
you there. right?
And if you're able to do that with people, you're gonna do that with your kids. It's
Yeah.
it's humility, bro. Me, I apologize to my kids like hey man, my fault. Look, I stepped on your feet. That hurt. My fault. I didn't mean it. And sometimes it's like, look, you know, you're right, bro. It's like I shouldn't have yelled. Like my son mentions is like earlier he told his mom, stop yelling. Why are you yelling? And his mom was like, you're right, bro. I probably should have handled that better. He's 4, bro. 4.
Yeah. The kids have the like I'm just waiting to have my feet held to the fire by my little one. Like it's gonna
Bro,
happen.
it's gonna happen. They call you out and
Yeah.
they're gonna call you on your BS. They're gonna hey, there's this therapist on Instagram that I really love, Kier Gaines. And he said that having a kid, being in a relationship, exposes the deepest insecurities that you have, right? And when your insecurities are exposed to that extent, it's you get into this fight or flight mode. Because ain't nobody like when people step on their insecurities.
No.
Nobody likes that. Being a dad. Well, you know what? I thought I was a strong, non-emotional man. I cry almost every day since I had my first kid, bro. I'm emotional about everything.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Emotional about everything, bro. I see a beautiful baby, cry.
Yeah.
See a beautiful puppy, cry, bro. Emotional about everything. That kids do something to you that you're like, yeah, yo, you
Yeah.
got me.
I've been emotional my entire life. Having a kid just took it up like to the nth degree, and that's the same thing. Like she does something where like she'll do something that's just like pull herself up on something. All of a sudden, it's like teary eyed. Like my wife has a thing. She's like, "Oh, it's dusty in here. We need the dust." It's
Yeah. It's like, bro, like what's
yeah,
going on? Like, you see, I remember so my oldest, I'm with my oldest and and the middle child. So their name is Malik and Jabari. So we had this the playground, and there's these big balls, like it's just balls, like round balls, like kids just jump on them, and then it's like parkour or whatever.
yeah,
And I remember my oldest being 3, my youngest being about 1, and going there being scared of hopping on those things. And one day I see them both jumping from one ball to the other and just having a blast, bro. I bawled my eyes out, bro.
I get that.
Cried. I couldn't stop crying. I was so proud. I couldn't stop crying, bro.
Yeah,
Because I remembered, I was like, they came. Because I'm thinking, bro, I'm getting emotional just thinking about it. It's like they were scared. That's why they didn't know. Now there's no fear. They're just going, and you see that, and they're having fun, and it's the most beautiful sight. And you're like, I just want that feeling for the rest of my life. Just it's just being
yeah.
proud like that. It's something, man. Kids is something, bro.
See, that was the thing.
I
Like we wanted to set our daughter up for the future and to
yeah,
be strong. So we actually her first and middle name. Her name is Maya Alexandria,
I love
and
that.
yeah, I love it too. It's actually still
I
okay.
hey, because I know exactly. Like I'm gonna wait for you to explain
Yeah, but
why her name is Maya Alexandria, but I think I know exactly why. You go ahead. You go ahead, and that's a strong name right there.
so there's two reasons, but one being it's Maya because she's named after Maya Angelou, the
Yep,
poet, and
yep.
Alexandria from the Center of Knowledge of the Known Universe, the Library of Alexandria. The other thing
Library.
is my
I
last name is Crokin, so her
yeah.
initials are Mac, and that makes me the Mac Daddy. So that's the other reason.
Freaking genius. But hey, I don't know why, but yeah, I've been talking to you for about an hour and a half. Bro, I knew exactly you were gonna say Maya Angelou and the Library of Alexandria. I knew when you said strong, I said those two names, these strongest women I know. Mind like some of the strongest women name we know. And me being African, obviously, I know everything about, you know, that library and knowing all the knowledge that potentially was stolen from and just vanished. Anyway, we'll
Yeah.
talk about that another day. But it's I knew this and this is a beautiful name, and I believe in so where in my culture, my son, my oldest is Malik Akil, which means the wise king.
Nice.
My middle my our middle child is named Jabari Joseph. Jabari means um fearless,
Okay.
and Joseph is named after my father-in-law, and his third name is Otah, which means direction, because I believe that kid would give me direction in my life, and he completely has. And our third is named Zaire, which is where I'm from.
Oh, okay.
All these names to me is very important because my name is Jonathan Ilufa. Ilufa is my granddad's name on my mom's side, and I am him. I'm telling you, if you talk to my mom, she'll tell you this right there. You're my dad. That's crazy. And so in our culture, we always believe that kids carry their name. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
your name is King. Like we believe that if we name you King, you will be somewhat of that.
Yeah.
If we name you Brave, we believe you fearless. We believe you that's what you're gonna be. We're not just calling you that because, right? So I really like what you did with your daughter's name, because I believe it's one of my beliefs that if you see somebody with a strong name, they they carry it.
Yeah.
It's you're not gonna be named Barack Obama and not be president. You
That's it.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not gonna be
Yeah.
named Barack Obama and not be president of something. You know what I mean? You're not gonna be Maya Angelou and not be something. You know what I mean? You're not gonna be Julius Caesar and not be something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
it's so to me, I really it's like when I name my children is like this because this is what you're gonna be. You're gonna be a direction for people. You're gonna be a light. You're gonna be a leader. You're gonna be a safe haven for people. You know what I mean? And hopefully that's what they're gonna be. My oldest right now named King, but he kind of acting like clown, so we'll see. But
Yeah, through that, you had to go through that clown phase. But I gotta say, like, that's the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life is choose a name for my daughter.
oh yeah, bro, it's tough, man.
Like that's
Like
yeah,
the only clear cut for us was our first one. We knew for whatever reason we've always loved the name Malik, so we knew his first name would be Malik. But the second, this like Jabari and his brother Zaire, like we had a hard time. It's like not a hard time. It's like, bro, do we want that? Do we want this? So we really had to think it through. I'm really happy with what we came up, and I do feel like you know I'm a better dad since my second child. I think I was a good dad, but I think my second child has also helped me um just become more patient, just and just realize the things that I've done well with my first, because sometimes when you don't know, you don't know. Because when you're in the midst of it, you know,
yeah,
sometimes it's hard to know whether you're doing something good, whether you in the thick of it, right? And but then you see you do that, and then oh, I did that with my first, and then you see it works with your second. That's kind of gratifying. Like it's like okay, like now that makes sense
well,
to
some of the
me.
stuff that you've done, I saw like the one of the videos where like to get we want to calm down before
Yeah,
it's time to eat, and crossing the arms across the chest and stuff. I've seen videos of a pediatrician doing this stuff because we researched everything, did all this
yeah,
stuff, and so I saw some of the stuff, and I was like, you know what, it's like this guy is doing what he knows what works, but it's actually legitimate stuff. Like this isn't just
yeah.
picking
It's
up
not
something
just
weird. Like it's
yeah,
real stuff that the advice you're given, the stuff that you're doing is actually stuff that works and functions and can
Yeah.
help for other people.
Yeah, and like I said, that's why like I always tell people you ain't got to believe me. Like I'm not pulling anything out of my ass. Like I'm not making this up. Like I'm not reinventing. I'm not the first parent who did that.
Yeah.
I just have a platform. That's why it's important for me for people to understand like this is not my advice. This is not something I've make up me calming the baby. I'm sure people have calmed their baby like that for hundreds of years. We just didn't know better. I just have a platform. I'm trying to show you.
And you're
And
directing it to
me,
dads, which is
and yeah, and me, but because I'm a dad, I want
yeah,
to talk to women. Listen, I've seen mom groups, bro. I want to be part of it.
yeah.
I want to be part of it, bro.
Yeah, my wife's in those too. I'm like, yeah, no, that's
But I talk about what I know. I'm not gonna tell my women what to do. I don't know what they're supposed to do. I don't know better. I'm a dad though. I know a little bit about that. And that's the thing about me. I don't talk about things that I don't know. Is you're not gonna hear me talk about cryptocurrency or things like that I don't know about
yeah.
it.
So,
But I know a little bit about being a dad. I got 3 kids. And not only have 3 kids, I was raised by 2 pediatricians, like literally my eyes. I tell my wife is like, how did you know he needed to poop? It's like, I don't know. I really don't know. It's just my dad used to hold the baby, sit him on his lap, and fiddle around his belly like that and feel. I just know I've seen it my entire life. So when my baby's crying, one reflex is to do what my dad did. Grab the baby, sit on my lap, touch his belly, and see if there's bubbles.
yeah.
It's I can't explain where it's not something that I've learned. It's just lifetime observation. Like I
It's also
didn't
natural instinct.
I
Like you've
didn't
got
ask
the
my it's my I didn't ask to have parents who were pediatrician. They just were,
yeah,
right. So it's like if I have that advantage, that privilege of knowing, and that's why I haven't lost my dad as my mind as a dad, because I have so much tools in my bag that I always have an answer to a situation, right? Is my baby crying? Okay, let's try to figure it out. Is he hungry? Is he too hot? Does he need a diaper change? Does he need a burp? And when I go down that list, if I have exhausted the list and then I don't have a solution, then I press the panic button. you know,
that's it. But it's
I
funny
press the
though
panic button. But
because
I'm gonna go through the list first.
yeah, but it's some stuff that just kind of comes naturally. Like I was saying, your videos come timely, right?
Yeah.
And at least for me, and there was a thing like the babies were having. She's doing this thing now where she wakes up. She'll go to sleep at like 7. She wakes up at like 8:30, and then she does squats for like 2.5 hours and decides to
Yeah.
practice all the stuff she learned during the day for like
Yeah.
2.5 hours. And my wife can't calm her down, so it's whatever. I'm the calming presence. So I come in, I pick her up, and she curls up on me. But the other day I was holding her, and she was squirming. She wasn't right. Like she wasn't. It was like holding a bag of fish. And finally, I kind of turned her sideways, put her head on my elbow, my arm between her legs, and I was holding her.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I started rocking and swinging with her, and she immediately calmed down and started falling asleep against my arm after chewing on my arm for a little while. The
Yeah.
next day, I went on your TikTok, and you had a video about if your baby's fussy and it's not sleeping, put the head
Yeah.
in the crook of your arm, put your arm up like this. I'm like, it was the next day.
That's crazy.
And I was like, you know what? Okay, so what I did, not a fluke. It actually makes sense. This is a
Yeah,
thing.
it makes sense. There's a lot of things, and me, that's what. There's one thing that I like to tell parents is observe your kids. You may not know, your kid will tell you what to do. If you're just patient enough and you get out of your own head of why the fuck is the baby crying? The baby always crying. Somebody left a comment, your baby's always crying. I'm like, you only seeing what I post. Imagine me trying to show you how to calm down a baby that's already calm. Would you have watched that video?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
You're
no,
seeing
it
three
was
minutes out of my day.
you seen 3 minutes out of my day. And within that 3 minutes, I showed you how to calm a baby down. So whether my baby cries all day, it's like in 3 minutes, I know how to fix that. It takes me 3 minutes.
Yeah.
It doesn't take me 5, 10, like, and that's why it was important for me. Is it's gonna take 3 minutes top. You don't need to trip. You don't need to freak out. You take 3 minutes and you focus on your child
Yeah.
and you figure out what's wrong. It's gonna take 5 minutes if you get out on your own head and you pay attention to your child. They're gonna tell you what's wrong. If a child's hungry, they're gonna start chewing, doing that fish mouth. If a child, if they have stomach discomfort, they're gonna be squirmy. They're gonna turning a little bit. If they're in pain, you will see they're gonna be all like stiff and stuff like. But you learn that as you go.
Yeah.
You learn that as you go. My children, all three of them, do exactly the same thing for everything. So for me, it's a little bit easier. When they're hungry, they did the same thing. When they're tired, they did the same thing. They did the same thing. So to me, it's very consistent. I see the same thing. So it's like, boop, I know the answer. But I bet that if you have another child, that's probably gonna be like that too. Like your kids are gonna be very similar in a certain way.
Well, she does a lot of
So
stuff I used to do when I was a kid.
right.
Like she
So
gets
if you
tired, she
pay,
plays with her hair like I do, and
yeah.
I'm 41. I still do it. When I get
Yeah,
tired, I play
and
with my hair.
so my youngest sister, for example, my youngest sister used to when she was tired, she used to grab people's ear and play with it. My son does that. So at first I was like, it's weird, but I'm like, my youngest sister used to do that to me.
Yeah.
So it's like when you start paying attention, you're like, oh, he's tired now. He's not just wanting to play with my ear, and I ain't got to be mad. No, just play with it and fall asleep, bro. You know what I mean?
Well, I think that's the thing is the one bit of advice that I have from my very limited experience is I think where the anger and the frustration stuff comes up, like you just said, you take 5 minutes, you focus on the kid, you
Take
focus on
five,
what
you
they need.
focus.
Where the anger comes up is when you're sitting there going, "Oh, I just want to be doing this," or "I just needed to finish this," or "Why couldn't you give
Yeah,
me 2 more minutes? Why like
that's
I
when
need to go."
that's when it
That's
comes in.
when you start feeling like you're neglecting something or you're taking something taken away from you. Then your thing is
That-
that feeds off on the kid, and the kid picks up on
yeah,
it,
and
right?
to me, at that moment, like it's not like those moments are not gonna happen.
Yeah,
Like there's times where I've had a long day. I'm trying to get to sleep, or I'm trying to just get in front of the TV, kick my feet up, and drink a cup of tea and fucking watch 90 Day Fiance with my wife. And this is not happening. It's frustrating. It's
yeah.
frustrating. It is. So there's those days where you're gonna be like, fuck it. Excuse my French, but there's those days where you're gonna be like, man, like, and that's okay.
Yeah. Well, and there's things like I've got days where I got frustrated a little while ago because I do a talk show for the television show Wheel of Time, and I love that series. But it took my wife finished watching it with me yesterday or 2 days ago because we could not sit down and watch an hour of television. So that was kind of frustrating. But the other thing that
Yeah,
I find for me is I've got a very deep, deep voice, and it carries,
yeah,
and my daughter's reactive to my voice. So if
yeah.
I'm like my wife is like feeding her in the living room and she's falling asleep and I see something, I walk in, I'm like, hey, I just had this great story idea. Boom, everything gets set off.
Boom.
So I
Yep.
have to whisper. I can most of the time in my house, I gotta be like, hey, just so you know. And because whatever it is,
I
my
live in my
voice, my
basement.
daughter reacts to it, right?
Yeah, I live in my basement because I'm loud. I'm like you. I mean, I live in my basement because I'm like, when the baby are asleep, I don't want to be the reason. I want that smoke with my wife.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I don't, y'all, if y'all gonna wake up, I'm not gonna be the reason why. I'm gonna be the reason why y'all went back to sleep. I'm gonna be the hero. I'm not gonna be the villain in this house. Okay.
Exactly.
I'm not gonna be the villain in this house.
That's
And
very important.
and
Um,
and yeah, no, it's you do what you gotta, you do what you can, man. Like as a parent, to me, as one of the biggest takeaway as a parent, bro, you show up every day, you do your best, and you hope for the best.
I like that thing of laying one brick. I'm gonna take that. What I use is ever since my accident, actually, and I got it from Pops from the Luke Cage series on
Yeah,
Netflix. The
yeah,
always
yeah, I
forward, never
love, yeah,
backwards.
yeah.
Always
That's
forward,
that.
never
That's it,
backwards.
bro. That's
That's it.
it, bro. I mean, life is hard, and that's why I've been telling people life is a bitch.
It is. But we're getting a ton of comments through chat here. I don't know if you can see the chat or not, but there's a lot of
I
people.
I can't actually in on. Let me check. Actually, I don't know why.
So you actually won't get the comments in the Zoom. It's only through the broadcast. So you'd have
Oh,
to
so I
have the
got to go
Twitch
on
video
Twitch.
on, yeah. But
Oh,
that's, I
I don't
mean,
know how to do that.
not that's all right. We didn't get a ton
Yeah,
of questions yet. We've been getting
yeah,
stuff, people agreeing with, throwing in some comments on what they
yeah,
felt that like agreeing with you on stuff and with their names. But so I'm just gonna say it in chat. If anyone in chat has any questions, now's a good time to let me know,
yeah. Feel free.
and we can
I
fire them
mean,
forward. But we have, so there is something too in, just so you know, I have a command set up that
yeah.
if someone types !guest in the chat, all your socials come up for them to follow you,
Okay,
like all your Tuque Daddy,
that's
the Cool
dope.
Broker, Tukes and
That's
Coats,
dope.
all
I
that stuff.
appreciate that.
But yeah, there's a lot of people talking about, not having supportive partners, not being able to have a shower, talking about naming their kids, and just basically all in all throughout this whole thing saying that they really like they're connecting with what we're saying and what you're talking
Yeah.
about, what the advice you're saying. And there's not a lot of questions,
It's
but
it's I find that support thing often one hard thing is if I ask you for help and you give me help at the extent that you can,
yeah,
I can't be mad at that.
yeah, very
You know what
much.
I mean?
That's it. And I think this
If
stuff
if
go.
if it's like sometimes it's like you need support and sometimes you got the support you just don't see it.
Yeah. But you also
Sometimes
have to be able
because
to ask for that support, right? Like
yeah,
you
you
can't
gotta
get mad at someone for not supporting you if you didn't let them
if you
know
didn't
that you
ask
need that support.
because you can't assume your partner's knows.
Yeah.
That's one big mistake my wife and I did for a long time, assuming we know what each other want, what each other's feeling, what each other needs at a particular time. That's doing guesswork. You're trying to guess. It's hard.
Yeah. And that's why I
And
came
it's
up with that
hard to guess.
question. Did I do everything I could do to support you today?
Did I do it? Did I do anything to support you? How did you feel about how we took care of the kids today? How did you feel about, how we handled that situation earlier? How do you feel? My wife and I just got an app. It's called Paired. So my wife and I got this app, and it's daily questions. You ask, one question was, what could you do this year? What could your partner do this year to support you better? Simple questions like that. She answers. I answers. We talk about the answer. It's an app. It's on iPhone. It's
So
called
it's called
Pair or
paired?
Pair or Paired or like pair, like a pair or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and
I'm gonna use that. That's an
it's
awesome.
it's 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 because I told her we got to talk.
That's a big
We
thing. It's so easy to not talk, to only have to talk about or around the
the
child, right?
problems.
To
It's
stop
easy.
talking to each other.
You stop talking to each other, and when you talk, you only talk about problems. You only
Yeah.
talk about issues. You only talk about responsibilities. No, we got to talk, y'all. We like. I need to know what you're looking forward to this year because I don't want to just be talking about our son about to turn 5. That's a responsibility. It's fun, but that's a responsibility because that son turning 5 in September, we got to send him to school. We got to start. I want to talk about something that you enjoy, that we enjoy, that sometimes is how do we connect?
Yeah.
And having that in mind is that little kid right there that's taking all that time. There's gonna come a time when he won't even want to be near us
Yeah.
because he's too cool to be near us.
Yeah.
And you got to think about that.
And that's the thing I bring up too. Like whenever the baby is teeing off, she's crying, she's really upset, we're not sleeping, whatever it is, we just want her to go to bed. And that's the thing where like I look at my wife, I'm like, you know what? There's gonna be a day that we're gonna be crushed that we don't have this now.
You don't have
Right?
that.
Something
She's like,
some I read somewhere that I keep in the back of my head ever since I read it was there came a time in your life where your parents carried you to bed and laid you down in bed for the last time. And
yep,
neither of you knew it.
yep.
Right?
And you know what? Listen, I know for me when that moment was exactly, and every time I think about it, bro, it's crushing my heart. Okay, I know exactly the day my mom made my bed for the last time. And so I was playing. I was in boarding school, right? I left home. I was 12 years old, and I never came home. I came home in 2008 before we moved to Canada, and then I was home for a year, and then I went to university. That's what I mean by like I left early
Yeah.
on, play sports and stuff like that. At 12 years old, my mom. So that summer, my dad goes back to Congo because for some work. He's gone for I think 5 months. My mom drops me off at the boarding school. She helps me unpack my stuff. She lays my sheet on the bed. And my mom never walked inside of one of my bedroom sis. I know exactly the last time my mom made my bed, bro.
Yeah.
I know, and this is freaking everything. I want to cry. I'm like, bro, I was too young,
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a big gap,
you
right?
know.
That,
And
yeah.
but it is true. It's one day for the last time you're gonna wake up and your baby gonna come, gonna give you a hug. It's gonna be all. There's gonna be one day that's gonna be the last time, bro. You're not even gonna know it, and then when you're gonna realize it's gonna crush you.
Yeah. Someone in chat just said that they bet your mom remembers that day too.
It's,
Yeah.
bro. It's it's a moment that, and when you grow up, you're like, and that's such a mom thing to do your bed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, wow. So you got to learn. I was telling my mom earlier, because I don't know what we're talking about. I talk to my mom all the time, telling my mom, I was like, we underestimated what being parent was.
Yeah.
Told my mom, all this shit I was talking, you guys didn't do enough. Look, I take it back, okay? I was like, I take it back because I already know right now that my sons, it's a matter of time before they tell me I messed up.
Well, that's a thing that my wife and I had this conversation on is that
It's a
we
matter
all
of
have
time.
these moments that you can look
It's a
back in your
matter.
life and you remember that you're
Yep.
like, this, what could have been and probably was this completely innocuous event for your parents that's a normal, like a Tuesday. But there was this thing that
Yep.
happened that stuck with you and impacted
Yep.
you and stuff like that. And so my
Yep.
wife and I was talking like, what is that going to be for us? What is going to be the
Yep.
thing that she's like, my dad always used to
My dad
do
always did
this,
that.
right?
My
And
dad's like that.
yeah,
I'm terrified of that moment, bro. Because listen, it was just this summer that I was fighting with my parents, talking about you guys didn't come to my basketball games enough. Talking about you guys could have done more. You guys didn't teach me this and teach me that. I'm scared to death, bro, because the wheel is turning fast.
yeah,
And I told my parents, like, I'm sorry, y'all. I didn't know how hard it was to be a parent. I didn't know the sacrifice it required. And my kids are only four. The oldest is just four.
yeah. Well, and
You
that's
guys, you guys raised four grown people, and I told my dad, I was like, I was so mad at you for not coming to my basketball games and stuff like that. But now I realize you was never trying to raise a basketball player. You was trying to raise a good man, and you succeeded at that.
yeah, that he definitely did. And I remember too, my dad was a paramedic and he came home one day really upset. And I asked him what was going on. And he said there was a really bad accident. And most stuff didn't impact him like that, but it was a really bad
Yeah,
accident. And he couldn't obviously talk or say anything about it for privacy.
yeah,
And the next day I found out that one of my best friends who was over at my house, like on the daily, was killed in that accident. My dad went and
yeah,
picked him up.
yeah.
I teed off on him. I went off.
Why
How
didn't you
could you not
tell
tell me?
me?
Why didn't you tell me?
How?
Whatever. Da, 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 da. And I made what was a horrible situation so much worse for
Even
him.
so much worse.
And then I apologized afterwards. I was like, you know what? I realized you couldn't do that. But I mean, I was emotional.
Yeah,
I'd lost my friend. It was this whole thing that was there. But
the
yeah, like
guy
there are
was
these.
he was trying his best to protect you. That's all.
Yeah. And he was dealing with,
Connection
like, it was almost like the
he
loss
was
of one
dealing
of
with.
his own sons, right?
And we forget sometimes, like, and that's why I said, like, yo, we so quick to blame my parents, like they weren't kids before. Like
Yeah.
they didn't have parents who had a hard time. Like they didn't grow up in conditions that could have been worse than ours.
Yeah.
We acting like our parents didn't go through all that.
Oh yeah.
It's like, oh, you did that. You ain't shit. You could have came. You did it. It's your fault.
Yeah.
But listen, if his dad didn't come to his game, that's not a habit he had. My dad used to tell me his dad always told him, always asked him about his brothers and sister. He would never call his other brothers and sister. He would call my dad to ask about his brothers and sisters. So the responsibility is on my dad to make sure that his brother and sister are doing well. That's what it really means.
Yeah.
When you do that, it's like my dad does that to me. He calls me to check on my brothers and sisters. And I ask him, why don't you call them? Like, you're the oldest. I have an older sister, but I'm the oldest boy.
Yeah.
Like, you the man of the house, bro. I left. I'm out working. I'm not gonna trust your sister. I'm gonna trust you. I raised you as the next man. I didn't raise your sister as the next man. I raised you as the next man. I ain't gonna call your sister.
Yeah.
I'm calling you.
That completely makes sense, and that's the thing is like we have to take a step
Right
back
or
from
wrong,
things.
that's how he is. Right or
Yeah.
wrong, that's how he's been his entire life. What am I gonna do to change him today?
Yeah. There's some things you just
Dude is
can't
60
change at a
years
certain
old.
point. Yeah.
I'm not gonna do nothing. I can't fight and scream and cry. He's not gonna change.
Yeah. But that's, I mean, that's one of the things I try to do is, because I've seen like I watch my sister. I've got a niece and a nephew, and I would, we don't talk that much right now, but I'd go and I'd see her on her phone all the time, and all that, like just these things happening that kind of bothered me. And that's one thing that I've tried to do is like a rule I put in place for myself, and I stick to it. Excuse me, is the only time I'm on my phone or on a tablet
Yeah.
and around my daughter is if I'm working or answering a work message or like something I got to do for work right now, or
Hmm.
if my wife is feeding and I'm
Yeah.
obviously not involved, or she's trying to put her
Yeah.
to sleep or something like that. But the instant I'm on my phone and my daughter wakes up and she looks over at me, that phone's down
Yeah.
and I'm spending time with her. Because all
Hmm.
that other stuff is still going to be there. I can go back to her, right?
Yeah.
I can go back and watch your videos anytime during the day.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But these moments I don't have. So I try to make
Yeah.
sure that she's not always seeing me on my phone
Yeah.
or on my tablet or
Yeah.
something.
I was like that with my first, and bro, it became harder. But it's I realized to me it's everything is about balance. And to me, if I can keep the household balanced, I'm fine. It's because I tell myself, like, there's one day I'm not gonna want to be a dad for the entire day. And that need to be okay with myself
Yeah.
giving my phone to my kid for 2 hours and not feeling and not judging myself. Because it's either that or I lose my mind.
Yeah.
So there's things that to me have became easier on my cell phone because my like I said, both my parents are doctors. My younger sister, she's a psychologist. They told me, do not worry about TV, whether it's a good advice or not. I'm not to say for everybody to take their advice, but that I trust them,
Yeah.
and I see that it's not making a difference in my children. Zero.
Yeah.
They on in front of the TV for the 2 hours. The moment I turn the TV on, it's forgotten. I turn the TV off, it's forgotten. They're in front of the TV for 5 minutes. There's no fight. There's no nothing because they understand it's entertainment. The moment is gone, we move on to something else. And I realize if I'm able to do that with my kids, I think I find to me for me the balance because that means I can be okay spending the entire day with them doing what, and I can also be okay taking a break
Yeah.
because I need it. I don't want to be on my phone. I'm an, I'm a content creator, and fortunately, it comes with it. I'm on my phone a lot, but they know what I'm doing.
Well, if you're working, you're working, right? Like that's one
Yeah,
thing. But if you're sitting there just mindlessly scrolling and zoned out, that's what I
ex-
try to
that's
avoid. Yeah.
that's different, and they won't see us do that too. I think, and not just, but because one day they're gonna ask you, bro, why are you always on the phone and not talking to me?
Yeah.
And to me, it's not even bro, like development is now it's all about relationship. I'm going to be accountable for the relationship I have with my sons.
Yeah.
Just like I hold my dad accountable for the relationship he has with me. One day, these three kids that are very little right now, might be 6'7", 6'8", 275 pounds, and look at me from the top of the tower over there and be like, bro, you could have done more.
Yeah. But I mean,
And
that's how I
I'm,
think always. Yeah.
I am anticipating this day, knowing it will happen. Inevitable. It's going to happen. Why? Because I'm never going to be able to do everything they want me to do.
Yeah.
It's just simple as that.
And you can't mind read. You don't know. You don't know what
I
you don't know.
exactly. And there's choices that you make in life,
Yeah.
right? I chose to be a great dad. My father chose to be a great man, which doesn't necessarily involve being a great dad. He had to be okay being away from the house for 6 months at a time. He had to be okay with that because that's a decision he made. That's doesn't mean he wasn't a great dad. My dad is to this day an excellent father. It's just not the father that my father-in-law is, which is a very hands-on father, always around and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But those are choices you make. And you have to be okay with those choices. And you have to be okay with the consequences that are going to come with that at the end. Your kids, if you aspire to be a great business person, which is in your right, regardless of how your kids feel about it, one day they will come and tell you, bro, we wish we could have seen you more.
Yeah.
As simple as that. You have to be okay with that. There's something I'm preparing myself for because I know how I am. I know one day my kids are going to start being like, yo, why dad is always on the plane? Because that's how I am. I'm a traveler. I work. I do a lot of things. I'm going to try to mitigate that as much as I can. But I know there's one or two, parent teacher meeting I might miss.
Yeah.
And I know that's enough for them to be pissed off for the rest of their life.
That's it. And same thing when you're a writer, right? There's like writers conferences, there's events, there's book shows, there's things you got to do. Like there's things that you have to go and step away from. Like, and that's
And
why
you
I
have
think
to be
making
okay
the
with
most
that.
of what you can when you have it.
It's you have to be okay with your choices, right?
Yeah.
Not everyone is going to be okay with them, but not everyone is on the same journey as you. Not even your kids. Even though they're a priority, if you dream to be a writer, your kids shouldn't change that.
Yeah.
Your kids have to be okay knowing that dad had a dream. And so long that his dream didn't impede on being a dad, we have to be okay to let him follow his dream
Yeah.
because people have to be okay with us following our dreams.
That's it.
My dad is not going to stop me from being what I want. Why should I stop him from being what he wants?
That's a good
Like I
perspective.
said, my dad didn't wasn't trying to raise. My dad had no idea I was going to be 6'6" eventually. I had no idea. So my dad wasn't trying to, was never trying to raise a basketball player. And that's a very important perspective to have. I was mad at my father for a very long time for not coming to more of my basketball games. My dad never intention was never to raise a basketball player. No matter how much I would have wanted him to raise a basketball. My dad wasn't a basketball player to begin with.
Yeah.
He wanted to raise a good dude. And today he can die and say, I raised a good dude.
Yeah. He was successful in what he was aiming for.
You know what I mean? And it's a choice you make. Maybe, people ask me, your son gonna because I was a really good basketball player. Your son gonna be a basketball player? I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever he gonna be, I'm gonna be right there with him. That's
See,
all I know.
yeah, I got people asking me the same thing. Like, oh, so you think do you want your daughter to be a writer? Do you want her to come in your steps? I'm like, she's gonna be in books. Like I've written her in
Because she
books.
lives in books.
Yeah, well the thing is too,
So
like I'm a huge like people in my chat know this. I'm a huge Winnie the Pooh fan. I always have
yeah.
been. And Winnie the Pooh became public domain on January 1st.
No
So
way.
I'm writing a new series of Winnie the Pooh books, picking up after Christopher Robin left, where a little girl named
Nice.
Maya moved in, and there's a brand new series of Winnie the Pooh stories coming out based around my daughter.
That's nuts.
Yeah. So like she's going to
That's
be in
crazy.
books. So whenever
That's
she writes,
crazy.
she's going to be in them.
She's gonna and you know it's to me it's like I heard a dad said that, and my dad always said that if you don't have a father and you see a father educating his children, listen. And I remember my dad, like, my dad wasn't always around, but I had a lot of other dads around, friends and stuff like that. And because my dad told me if you don't have a dad and another dad is teaching his children and you're around, you pay attention. Those are the same lesson my dad would have taught me.
Yeah.
He gave me the keys to know what I was supposed to do if he wasn't around. Successfully raised a good dude as he set out to do. And to me, this took me 31 years to realize because I'm 31. I was mad at this dude for doing exactly what he said he was going to do.
Yeah. But now
And
you got that
imagine
perspective.
and imagine you being the dude telling trying all you can to raise a good dude and the motherfucker mad at you because you didn't come to a basketball game.
Yeah. That's tough.
So I know this is going to happen and I'm preparing myself for that because I know the choices I'm going to make and I have made in my life. And I know some of the choices my kids are not going to be with it.
Yeah.
I don't care.
But like you said too, you still have to be you, right? Like you still have to
I
be a
still got to be
person,
me, bro.
and
I'm
you
gonna die
just
one day. I'm gonna die, and I want my kids to know their dad was free, was a free man, was a free mind, was a happy dude.
yeah.
You know, he was. I want y'all that you want to go to Indonesia, bro? Go, go be happy.
Yeah. Be you, have fun.
Life,
I gotta
life,
say, you inspired
life is
me
hard, man.
a lot. Like
And
with this, like with the parenting stuff and everything, you inspired me. And you know, I doing this Twitch thing was kind of a trip because I'm a writer, and I when I first started this, I'm like, who's going to want to sit there and watch me put words on a page? But it's
yeah,
a thing, right? And I mean, I built out other stuff around it, like these
yeah,
conversations and stuff. But I started because I was coming out to classical music world. I started with this thing that everything had to be perfect and everything had to be timed and all that stuff. And then I really quickly, with the
yeah,
help of some of my chat, got some sense knocked into me and was like, you know what, just be normal, be you, have fun, enjoy it. And I've been doing that, but then I realized I've not been doing that because I've been on TikTok for 9 or 10 months, or longer than that. I've planning on doing book talk, planning on doing this other stuff, but I don't know if you checked my profile or not. But I've got zero videos up because I every time I've got to that point, I'm like, oh, but I'm not. But I have to take
I'm
a
not.
page from your book, and I just have to get up and be like, this is the book I'm reading. This is what I have to say about it. Like it or
Yeah,
not, this is what it is.
yeah. And that's being you right there. You know why I love Kanye West? Because nobody can tell Kanye West shit.
Yeah,
I love Kanye, bro. I love Kanye. He is him.
yeah,
And to me, that's what I want to be. If you're not gonna like me for being me, I'm okay with it.
yeah. That's the and yeah, you have to be okay with that.
I'm
And that's
okay.
the thing.
I'm
Like
I'm
with
okay with it. It's I'm not gonna fight you. Not gonna be mad at you. I'm not even gonna have hard feelings. Bro, imagine God, which, if you're somebody who believes the religion in God, it's like, bro, imagine people don't even agree on God.
yeah,
The fuck they
exactly.
gonna agree? They gonna agree on me?
See, I like these perspectives. That's the thing. Like for me, one of the things, like one of my favorite musicians right now that I've been listening to, just because I love the rhythm, I love the beat, I love everything, is Jadena.
Yeah,
And
oh, I love
there's
this
so many
guy.
songs that Jadena has that if I'm having a bad day, Jadena's going on, and
Yeah,
that's Chief Don't Run, all
Susu,
these other songs.
those,
Yeah, they're just
yes, sir. Yeah,
95 or 85 to Africa. Like these songs, they just
yeah.
pick you up, they get you going,
Here's
and they
something.
give me strength on days that I like,
Yep,
especially like Chief Don't Run. I love that
yeah.
song. Right.
And so I was reading a book. So I read a lot of books. I read it was Grow It, Think and Grow Think and Grow Rich. I think that book. And in that book, there's the guy says to like he talks about the concepts of visualization. So he he's not talking about it, he's not saying visualize, but the way everything is describing is it's that phenomenon of visualizing something in order to make it become true.
Yeah.
So what he said is he would imagine himself at a table with a bunch of great people, the Canary of the god of the world, people like those big industrials and stuff like that, right? And have conversation with them in his head, like made up conversation. He said he just laid in his bed, closed his eyes. When he closed his eyes, he walked into a room. It was a big table, and that table is all the greats in the world. Anyone can do that.
Yeah.
Anyone can do that. And then you go, and then there's something, there's an energy that once you start believing, you gotta believe. There's something you gotta feed. You can't. It's like a car. Like your body's like a car. It's like you're you need. It's like that. It's fuel, right?
Yeah.
It's like imagine you trying to go. So you're trying to go from point A to point B, but you can't even see point B. You got to be able to create it somehow. And
Yeah.
what I do is, for example, like my sons, when I cut their hair, you got to line up, right? And,
Hmm.
black people usually see that, but you don't got that when you're a kid. So you got to imagine it,
Yeah.
and then he's got to get there.
That's it.
So it's kind of the same thing. It's like you got to see it. You got to see it. You got to talk yourself into things. You got to convince yourself that you can. You got to get yourself going. And that's one reason, me, I just throw myself into shit. Like sometimes I'm like, bro, I'm just gonna throw myself into it. And we'll see what happens. Like, I may eat shit, but we'll see what happens.
And that's how
You
you get
gotta jump.
experience.
That's like my TikTok, like I said, I was on TikTok 9, 10 months, just like you before I posted this video. I posted a single video.
Yeah.
And then one day I just said, F it. Let's just go. Let's just go. If people make fun, if people don't like it, well then I just whatever. I just
That's more of a reflection
take
of
down the
them,
page.
right?
It's,
Yeah.
or even if I don't like it, I just take down the page. It's really not that big of a deal.
Yeah. That's something I just
It's
gotta jump into more with, and that's
like
something that.
me is I have stopped caring about people, what people think, not about people, but what people think. Simply
Yeah.
because you and I are two very different people. I can guarantee you, although we've agreed on a lot of things, if we speak another 2 hours, there's a few things we're gonna disagree on.
Yeah.
We're not gonna agree on everything, right? So to me, it's the same thing. It's like, bro, you ain't gotta take like and it's if you're a writer, you know who you're posting for. You're not posting for people who don't like the read.
Yeah.
So if somebody posts a comment who don't like the read, I'm not posting for you, bro. Knock it off. I'm
That's
not knock it
very.
off.
That's very true.
I'm not posting for you, so you can be mad all you want. Go read first, because your comment clearly tells me, bro, you never read a book. I'm not gonna fight with you. I'm gonna fight with people who read books before, and that can actually make sense. I'm not gonna fight with you.
Yeah.
So
If it's
sometimes
a
I tell
fight's
people
only
just
worth
jump.
having if you can actually have that fight. Like I find, like there's the thing. Like those that don't believe, oftentimes they're not going to believe. No matter what you say, no matter what you do, you're
It
not
don't
going to change your
matter.
mind.
It don't matter. Somebody who because they chose, like one of those videos of my parenting videos. People are saying I'm not supporting my baby's child, my child's
I saw
back.
that, like the head and
Look,
neck. Yeah.
look. I put a video of screenshots showing specifically how the back is supported. People are still fighting, bro. Imagine. What
Yeah.
do you want me to do?
Yeah.
You raised the concern. I addressed your concern, and I told you I know what I'm doing. My baby was fine, and I'm showing you. I swear to God, the video is there.
I saw the
Somebody's
video.
like,
You explained
hold
it.
the
Fine.
baby's back. I'm like, okay, hold on. I'm gonna show you that I am. I took a bunch of screenshots, put that on TikTok, and people are still telling me you're not supporting your baby's neck. I'm like, are you guys doing this on purpose? You just trying to fight.
Yeah.
At this point, you're just trying to fight. And you're not even a parent.
Yeah. No,
You know
that's
what
it.
I
I
mean?
saw that video. I watched it. I'm like, yeah, there's nothing like, and I like the way you
It's
explained the way the head moves and what the danger is and stuff.
it's
Like you went in on what it
there's a re
was.
it's like and and I realize that it's a lot of people who don't have kids like, oh, I do that for my nephew all the time. How often do you take care of your nephew?
Yeah.
Come on, y'all. You are, yeah, but you see, me and my nephew wouldn't do, bro. Go talk to your brother and ask him because you might have a different conversation.
Yeah.
It's different when you're an uncle and aunt. It's different than being a dad, bro.
Well,
You
there's stuff that
taking care
happens
of
you don't
those kids
see.
when you want. You not when you because you have to. No, you can decide to walk away and come back a week later. This is a luxury as a dad I do not have. Okay,
Yeah.
so do not compare yourself to me. With all due respect, you might be a great caregiver. You're not a parent. It is very different.
That's a delineation I didn't understand until I became a parent. Like
Until
it is a
you
thing.
it's a thing.
It is.
You people like just having mentally knowing that you can walk up and walk away and not come back, and somebody's taking care of their children, their parents.
Yeah.
That luxury alone is mind freeing.
Yeah.
Knowing that you have nowhere to go when your kid's been crying for 5 hours, you cannot walk away. The furthest you're gonna walk away, you're gonna still gonna hear them scream. Come
And the
on,
only
bro.
thing you can do there is step up more.
You trying to compare yourself to me? You're like talking about, oh, my nephew, my niece. Come on, bro. Give me a break.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
But I said,
it's
like, my baby's in this head banging phase now, where she just likes
oh,
to bang her head. Like, not on anything, luckily, but she just, like,
they
will sit there
do.
and head bang.
Yeah,
But then
yeah.
yesterday, I was like, that's why I was like, made that dumb ways to die comment because my wife was holding her. She fell, she hit her head. No blood, no bump or anything like that, just like a line mark where she hit the edge of the coffee table. So she's okay. She hit her head 9 times yesterday. That where she fell, then she would like rolled over too quick, hit her head. She was trying to stand up on something, rolled over, hit her head. She was like, it was finally
They're
at one point, I'm like, dude, are you
fine.
trying to give yourself a concussion?
They're
What are you
trying. They're
doing?
fine.
Right?
But
And then,
they're fine. That's
yeah,
what that's the thing is. They're fine.
yeah, yeah. And that's
For
the
us
for everyone
being,
out there. She is fine. Like there's nothing wrong.
they're
Like,
fine.
yeah,
It's That's the thing. We worry like, yo, you seen birth. Tell me anything that you're doing to your kids is worse than what happened when that kid was coming out of that kennel. Please tell me, because
yeah,
I would like to tell me. I would like to know what squeezing, what's work that I've been doing is worse than that squeezing that I notice out there in the delivery room.
yeah.
And then we talk about being a parent.
Yeah, they're resilient and they're good. Like, and but for her bump on her head, it was just like not major bumps, like nothing to leave a mark except for that
Hey,
one.
listen,
But that day is
you
coming, right? Where
fell
there's
as
gonna
a
be
kid,
worse
didn't
coming.
you? You fell as a kid, didn't you?
Oh yeah,
You
I've been.
get
I'm covered in scars.
And that's what I'm saying. We forget about that.
Yeah,
We forget. Like we become parent, and all of a sudden we think like we're the first parent in the world. Like this shit, like, no, bro, relax. That's one thing that's really helped me. Like, I'm not the first parent. I'm not the first one to do that. I'm not the first one to lose my mind. So I'm
yeah.
fine.
Well, the thing that I remember, and I've said to my wife probably 100,000 times since we've had the baby, is when things are getting really tough. Like she choked on Kiwi the other day. We had to bang it out of her back. It was a thing, but she's okay. And I finally, my wife was really shook by it for like a few days. I was too. Finally, I looked at my wife. I'm like, listen, we've got teenage mothers out there that do this stuff, and they get by and they do it, and they do a great job, and they bring their
Fine.
kids up. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure 2 41-year-olds can figure this out.
you're good. Listen, I dropped my first son. When I'm telling you I dropped him, bro, fumbled the bag,
Wow.
dropped the kid head first. So where we used to live, we had a single garage. a single car garage, and then there's a flight of step like that, and then the button to close the garage is right on the left to to the staircase, but there's no banister.
Yeah.
So I walk in, take the kid out of the car seat. I had some groceries. Take the groceries in my other hand. So I have my kid on my left hand, left arm. The groceries are right arm. The button is on my left side to close the garage. So I'm going up the stairs, and for whatever reason, I, to this day, I'm thinking, what the fuck was I thinking? Anyway, I go with my left arm to close the garage, drop the kid, and luckily, so I had an SUV, and so I had my tires lined up against the wall, so I could back up without having to worry about hitting the wall.
Yeah.
So the kid fell head first in between two tires and planted himself like a plane, like this, 2 feet up the air. Bro, I cried for the first year of that kid's life about this thing. He's alive and well. He's doing great.
Oh, he's smart enough to call you out on all your stuff. So
But there's things that are gonna happen as
yeah.
parents, yo. It's you're not gonna be sharp. Just as recently, my wife gave birth. So this is how our third kid came into this world. Okay, December 5th. So I have heart. So I have insomnia. So I'm taking a sleeping medication in order to sleep. So if anyone taking sleeping pills, they know that once you take sleeping pills, you are asleep.
Yeah.
It's gonna be hard to wake you up. It's I think 3 o'clock in the morning. My wife trying to wakes me up. I have contraction. Take me to the hospital. I am not moving. Luckily, her parents are in the house. She goes next in the room next door, knocks. Her dad wake up. Her dad takes her to the hospital at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm still awake. I'm still asleep. Sleeping like sleeping beauty. Sleeping beauty, bro. 6 o'clock. Her mom, so she at the hospital trying to call me, trying to text me, telling me she got nothing. At 6 o'clock, she's really starting going into labor right now. Her mom comes in the room, knocks. Your wife is in labor, bro. Go to the hospital. It took me 2 hours to get to the hospital. I had to wake up, shook off the sleeping pills.
Yeah.
I showed up 10 minutes before the baby arrived. I arrived at the hospital at 8:27. Our son was born at 8:37.
Wow.
You're not going to be sharp all the time.
See, that's it, and that's
You're not
where.
going to be sharp all the time. There's things like that. And her dad actually made me feel really better about that because I felt really terrible. Trust me. Like I
Oh
was
yeah, I
there
can
on time
imagine.
for all my kids. This this hurt. I was like, I told him, I was like, I'm done with my medication. I'm not taking this bullshit anymore. And they all looked at me like, so you're not gonna sleep? That's smart. you know? And
Well,
says
I mean, for
and
the
it
first couple
reminded me,
weeks, but
you can't be no, I kept taking them. To this day. I don't go to sleep without my sleeping pills because you have to be okay with not being sharp 100% of the time. You're you, there's another book that I'm reading. I'll send you the reference, but it's called Battle Cry.
okay.
And it says in that book, the guy says, if somebody asks you to hold a barbell with 245 plates on the side, on each side, for 24 hours, are you going to be able to do that? The answer is absolutely not.
No.
There's not one man on planet Earth that's been able to do such feat.
Yeah.
You being sharp 100% of the time is the equivalent of holding that barbell for 24 hours, 24/7. That's the equivalent. Being a parent is so fucking difficult. You there's no way you're going to be sharp 100% of the time. There's no way.
Well, then that's the thing. Like for myself, I since my accident, For well, I guess for about 7 or 8 years now, I've been on I've been going through 5 grams of marijuana a day
Yeah.
to deal with my pain, to deal with my
Yeah.
insomnia, to deal with my nausea, all this other stuff that goes along
Yeah.
with it. So when the baby was born, I went for like a month and a half where I barely took anything because the
Yeah.
pain kept me awake, it kept me
Yeah.
alert, kept me sharp. But then I realized it was becoming a detriment that I
Yeah.
was in pain and not sleeping. And in order to be
Right.
my
Yeah.
best, I had to be taking my medication. I had to be
You
smoking.
have to sleep.
And then, so once I went back, then I was able to balance it out a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I did the
You
same
have
thing where
to
I was like,
sleep.
I'm going to stay away from this for a while because I don't want to roll over or something. And so I mitigate. I know how to dose. I know sativa,
Yeah.
indica, balance, all that other stuff.
Yeah.
But for the first little while, I'm like, no, I'm not. Like
Yeah.
at the end of the
But
night,
even
I'll take something, but that's
it's
it.
crazy. You're scared, but at the end of the day, you know what? What my father-in-law said after I told him I'm not taking my medication anymore. And that's after his daughter gave birth. And I showed up 10 minutes
Before.
before she gave birth. Okay. He told me, he said, you know what? So in 2018, I think, my wife's cousin got married in Toronto. So we were in Toronto. My Her grandfather, my father-in-law's father, passed while we were in Toronto. They're from Nova Scotia. And my father-in-law said he spent 3 months crying, wondering what if he was there? Could he have done something? Could he have changed something? Would his dad still be around? But then he said, but then I'm looking 18 months before he passed. The guy stopped going hunting. He stopped going berry picking. He stopped going fishing. And that's a guy who does that every day. We didn't realize he wasn't doing well. There is nothing, absolutely nothing we could have done. And we have to be okay with that.
Yeah.
And when he told me that, I was like, I'm going to go to sleep now. I said, because it's true. We
Yeah.
can't hold ourselves accountable for every bad thing that's going to happen.
Yeah. All you can do
That's
is deal
it's
with, make amends, and or
there's life is
go.
binary. There would be no good without bad. There would be no light without dark.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want the good, you have to be okay with the bad.
Yeah.
If you want the light, you have to be okay with the dark. It's two concepts that come together. There's no way you cannot separate them. So if you don't want the good, if you don't want the bad, then avoid the good. Just do nothing.
Yeah.
If you want the good, just know that the good comes with an amount of its exact opposite. Because otherwise you wouldn't know that it's good.
Yeah. There's
It's
always a
that
balance.
simple. It's that simple. So that's why I say and all of this, like sometimes people think it like, oh man, you sound so. I'm like, bro, this actually my father-in-law who told me this, who made me feel good about let me take my sleeping pills and get some rest.
Yeah.
Because it's not like I wasn't there. I was there just in time to be there for my wife and help her deliver. I was there. It's not like I wasn't. I was.
Yeah.
I just wasn't there for 2 hours. I was there for 10 minutes. And the 10 minutes she needed me to be there, I was. That's all that matters. If I didn't wake up on time, my father-in-law was there.
Yeah.
She made it to the hospital. Nothing else matters.
That's it.
She made it to the hospital. She made it safe. The baby was delivered. I was there. Now the baby back home, about to be 6 weeks old, all chunky and shit, and he doing great.
That's awesome. It's a very cute baby. I've obviously seen the videos, and very, very
Appreciate it.
cute.
There's
So
things there you can't hold yourself accountable, responsible for everything. There's shit that's gonna happen, and that's what it is.
yeah, that's very sage advice. I've kept you going for 2.5 hours now, I
And man,
think.
we kept going, man. Like I said, I love this conversation, and you know, I've so like I've seen so much in my life, despite only being 31 years old. Like I said, I have some privilege that a lot of people didn't. Like just the fact that Both my parents were pediatricians. Like I grew up in a very different type of household where we didn't have those conversation where, we just talking about days of our lives and stuff. No, we talked about science and chemistry and
Yeah.
philosophy. And so because of that now, I may have some things that I can share. And if I can do that, you know, I know how much it helped me, that maybe that can help somebody too.
And that's why I wanted to have you come on and have this conversation because, from what I saw, you seem like an amazing guy. And I
Appreciate
knew
it.
that we'd be able to have a conversation that is going to help people. And I've got people, like, people are connecting in chat with what we're doing and what we're talking about. And it's like, I haven't really seen anyone be like, oh, no, that's not right. Like, I think
Yeah.
this conversation has been it's inspiring for me. I think it's inspired a lot of people in the chat
Yeah.
as well.
And I think it's not about being right or wrong. There's no right way, wrong way to being a dude, being a great person,
Yeah.
being a great parent. There's tools. Kanye says something very important, and that's the last thing I've got to say. He says, when you're trying to you on a journey to climb a mountain, in order to get to the mountaintop, you need tools, right? But those tools, you can only get them as you get to certain levels. You're gonna get to level one with certain amount of tools. You're gonna get to that level one. You're gonna get there. There are gonna be other tools that are gonna help you get to level two. You're gonna get to level two. There'll be other tools that are gonna help you get to level three, so on and so forth. And when you get to the top of the mountain, which was your goal to get to the top of the mountain, you realize that getting to the top of the mountain is, in comparison to all the tools you've acquired, it's nothing. Because now you got all these tools that allow you to do whatever you want.
Yeah.
So the goal was to get to the mountaintop, but the mountaintop, that journey gave you so much more than actually getting to the mountaintop. Because you got to the mountaintop, you only got a set of tools at the mountaintop. Actually, mountaintop, there's nothing else. You ain't got to need,
Yeah.
you ain't got to go nowhere else no more. But you're at the mountaintop, and now you got all these tools that at the bottom of the mountain you didn't have. So now you can go back at the bottom of the mountain with all these tools. And that's what life is. Enjoy the journey. And every day there's something you can take, you can learn, you can move on, you can use for you, the benefits and the betterment of yourself and other people. And to me, that's just my philosophy. I I acquire tools, and a knife is a knife, bro.
Yeah.
you know, I can use it to kill somebody, or I can use it to butter my bread. And it is what it is. It's how I
It's
feel, you know.
I use it. I love that. That's fantastic. Thank you very much for joining me.
I
What I'm going to do is
appreciate
I'm
no.
going to pause the stream and
Yeah.
go say goodbye to you if you want to stick around for a minute, and then I'm going to come back and shut down the stream after.
All right.
Thank you very much for being here. I greatly
I
appreciate it. You're
appreciate
more
no.
like
Thank you for
obviously
having
welcome
me.
to come back anytime and chat.
Hey man. See you tell me, give me the time and date, man. And I'll be there.
That's awesome.